been 474 days since these two sides actually played each other, and here they are tonight tossing the coin in the middle. That man there's been practicing for about 10 minutes on how to toss the coin. Surely at his age he'd know how to toss the coin. He got it right.
Big moment for him, BT.
Yes, it is. I'm not denying that. Nick Riewoldt to the left.
Not a bad toss. In the end, he got it right.
He had lots of practice.
Got some good elevation in it. Got the job done. Nick Riewoldt had a sensational year, given his side has struggled, and there he is, still fired up, still as competitive as ever, and plays under great duress. Richard has his knee basically drained after every main session and every game, and just gets about his business in the sort of style that a champ does.
Yeah, he had to miss that game a few weeks ago over at Patterson Stadium in Perth. Gave the knee a rest, so he's probably feeling a bit more energetic than he was a few weeks ago, but it's a huge challenge playing on him. It's almost a double team when he's up and running.
Not a great ground for Port. They've lost their last 8 games at this venue against all types of opposition, so they haven't travelled to this venue well.
There's no doubt the Saints will be in the game for a long time. It's just with those 8 players under 30 games, whether they can sustain that for the whole 4 quarters.
Jay Schultz has been very impressive for Port.
We're trying to be body language experts here, BT. Yep. We were talking in the ad break just about the energy around Port Adelaide. Lingy and I were in the Port Adelaide room. They've got this real combative, physical edge about them. They look like a really tight group. St Kilda, on the other hand, just appear to be disjointed. Whether that means anything or not, we'll find out. But there's something about Port Adelaide, something I like about the way they run out on the ground.
Lobe there in the ruck, ready to go.
Justin Westhoff starting at centre-back, and St Kilda are going to go with a 7-man forward line. They're not going to let Port have a loose player.
A welcome return, Justin Westhoff to the Port Adelaide side, along with Mitchell and Cahoon as well. Out wide, an opportunity for Stewart, involved early. Lobe went and got another one, so immediately into attack here. Boak involved, looking for Wines, missed him. Montagna, little highish, but cleared the ball without great direction, and that's a free going the way of Trent Gove.
Westhoff is directly matched up to Nick Riewoldt, and he's going to try and push forward at every opportunity and run Nick around.
Pidan, a bit of a fumble and a fiddle. Out wide, and great mark there by Wingard, the man the boys were just speaking of.
He's a jet, BT.
He is, looking for the little one up the middle, the Butcher, who started the same way last week. 2 first-quarter goals against Hawthorn with great jukes out in front.
The kick from Wingard was just elite. Contested mark, and have a look at that ball, Rich, as a forward. You'd love every bit of it. And he has got brilliant hands, this man. Unfortunately, the kicking aspect of the game is a real worry, and you'll get a good look at it now.
He's a juker. How outstretched with those arms. Fantastic. Have a look at the action here. It's a little erect and stiff. Or perhaps one of each. An opportunity. He kicks the goal, as he did last week.
Yeah, he was very happy with it off the boot, big Johnny Butcher. And look, he knows that he needs to get the first goal for his confidence. It's a confidence thing, goal kicking, and as soon as it came off the boot, he was wrapped and got around his teammates. But the kick from Wingard, he draws players into the footy, as all the elite kicks do. They put the ball where they want you to end up, and he just continues his fine year, Chad Wingard.
There's the Saints forward line. Nick Riewoldt's got Jackson Trengove for a match-up, and as we look down, Richo called it earlier, it is a 7-man forward line at the moment. They're not going to allow the loose St Kilda, but that means there's more space for Port Adelaide, just the 5 forwards.
He's an unusual operator, Butcher. In his second game, he had just the 6 kicks, but managed the 6 snags to go with those 6 kicks. And here he is tonight, looking really lively up forward. Robertson ran past the footy. Monfries, who's also been in good form for Port. There's Need, the live wire of the team. Look at the evasive skip to and from.
Every time a Saints player gets the footy, which has only been the once, they're just at them. They're hunting down the St Kilda players.
Need was in the subs vest last week, of course. Opportunity to run the game this week. Montagna run past it. Need again. Out in front, and here he is again. Butcher again. And I say it as he did last week. I think he took the first 2 marks inside 50 for Port last week. And he's got an opportunity to convert one from directly in front.
They're great hands, Johnny Butcher's got. He always, at junior level, was able to mark the ball. And even that's a tricky one, sliding in at ground level, wobbly footy. But he's got a great ability to keep his eye on the footy when the ball's in the air. And a nice start, his first goal. See if he can kick 2 in a row.
Butcher. There it is. A really lively start for Port.
Well, we said before the first bounce about the energy around Port Adelaide, and it has translated into a 2-goal start. They look on, good body language, up and about. Johnny Butcher, a really talented player. Suddenly this list for Port Adelaide's got a bit more to like about it, hasn't it? There's a bit of talent everywhere. Perfect start for that man.
Butcher with more goals than St Kilda have had possessions in the first 2.5 minutes.
Do you reckon that's ever happened before?
No, probably not.
That's a first. We've got a first here.
Johnny the Juker. He is very, very good in there. Up they go in the middle again. Monfries, Boak, Wines, all combining here. O'Shea with the footy, looking to go forward. Once again over the back, Monfries, half forward, pursued, hammered into the turf, picked up by O'Shea. O'Shea advanced it inside 50. Robertson, Del Santo, and now Jack Stephen to relieve some pressure down the line.
They hunt the ball offensively and defensively, the Port players. Lingy, it just seems that there's more numbers around the footy everywhere with Port Adelaide.
Yeah, certainly, Richo. It's their speed away from the contested situation. They're spreading like lightning, and the real speed of hands then that they use to link up is going to cause St Kilda some dramas. But St Kilda got the free kick here. They want to now get a bit of composure, control the footy for a little bit.
If this was basketball, I'd call it timeout now if I was Scotty Waters, and I'd say, come in, let's reassess what's going on here, because we are not on.
Well, Das,
and we need to get ourselves sorted out.
there's some news, mate. This is footy.
I said if it was basketball, Brian. It was
So
just an
how are you
analogy.
going to get that message
You know
out?
what you do? You send the message out to your leaders. I reckon you make some positional changes straight away. You go loose in defence and you just try and hang on, because the momentum, it might be early, but there's something about the energy of Port Adelaide. They've got to make sure they don't get 5 goals to 0 down.
Well, one of their senior players has to win a hard ball or take a big grab and just slow things down for 30 seconds or so and get themselves into the game.
There is a great camaraderie, hunger and spirit about Port Adelaide here at the moment. Montagna with a little poker through some traffic there. Del Santo right on the boundary line, ran out of turf.
At least they've created a couple of stoppages here in a row now, the Saints. They've got a good setup behind the footy. They can get themselves into the match now.
This is the St Kilda attacking 50. Big boy McAvoy over the back. Armitage to the front. Wants the line. More.
It's good by St Kilda. Just repeat stoppages in their half of the ground. Scotty Waters would be pleased. He wouldn't be happy with the initial start, but just to settle the game down a bit here, lock it in, just slow the game down. Don't let Port Adelaide get that momentum and cost them 4 or 5 goals.
McAvoy at the back. An opportunity here for Colquhoun. There's forward the Saints and Rewald able to mark on the line against Tringrove.
Just did that really well, Nick. Now, play on here.
We'll do the professional roughhead Stevie J here. Face the middle of the ground, turn the ball around the corner, and that has become bread and butter for AFL players.
Yeah, that it is, BT. Bread and butter. They do not miss those. The modern footballers execute that skill so well, but Nick executed the chest mark beautifully. It favoured his side. All he had to do was hold his weight against Tringrove and just pushed off at the last minute. Took an easy chest mark, but he's done that thousands of times.
Great to see the leaders stepping up. I'll tell you what they have done, the umpires. They've got the Mark Manning right. For a few weeks there, the guy trying to close space was about half a metre away and you couldn't step around and kick the goal. Rewalt had enough space to do it, and it was Montagna, Rewalt, the big boys getting involved for St Kilda.
Yeah, they've been creeping in further and further over the years, I reckon, Dash. You're right. And let's hope that's indicative of the comp. There's Robertson. Got it to Jones, who advanced it forward, looking for Rewalt. Got the timely fist there. Now the smooth mover, Del Santo, tried to keep it alive.
It's great by St Kilda to go with the 7-man forward line. They don't want Port to have a loose player back. And when you've got 8 players with under 30 games experience, I think the best thing to do is to play man-on-man, not let them have loose players.
Opportunity here for Armitage. Bangs it into a real dangerous spot for Port. Trengovis holding Rewalt. Alapati Carlisle. Got the handball off to Stewart down the middle. Monfries has got to come. Robertson back. Nice win by Robertson. Farron Ray now trying to avoid Need. Did it with a swatting action. Found the free in Lenny Hayes, and he spears the ball to the leader of the King. Nick Rewald up forward, 60 out. Here's Milne.
Move it on, Nick. Play on. Play on.
Umpire gives him the hurry up. Goes into big boy, McAvoy.
Well done, big boy. His opponent, Lobe, was trying to get back and guard space, and he was in a pretty dangerous spot, so Rewald had to check the kick. He looked down the back. There's Lobe trailing him behind 5 metres. McAvoy did the right thing and presented Rewald onto the lead. And that's really good play from the big Saints.
That'll just go into the highlights reel for big boy, that one.
He's great at getting down in defence and taking saving marks. Great to see him up forward.
To square the game up early in the 9th minute of this first quarter, McAvoy comes in. He makes no mistake. 2 goals apiece.
Yeah, well done, Ben McAvoy. Nothing better than being in the midfield, pushing forward, kicking a goal and then running back to the middle. Look at the big fella. He's communicating with the forward line, heading back into the centre. Well done, Ben McAvoy.
Nothing more enjoyable than that, Richard. And you've kicked one, you get to strut your way back to the centre. And
you used to pin the shoulders back, and you were running back.
And you do start waving around, just letting people know you kicked it.
Port Adelaide off to an absolute flyer. This is what you need. Your senior players just leading the way. Lenny Hayes just nailed massive tackle at that last centre bounce after the Nick Rewalt goal. Led down to Ben McAvoy being able to kick that goal. That's how senior players can influence a game of footy.
Come on, enjoy the game, Lingy. Look at the big mark at the other end by McAvoy instead of a stilly tackle in the middle.
Lingy doesn't even see that stuff.
Gee, Lingy, come on. Saunders in amongst it here in the middle for the Saints.
No wonder I never made it as a full forward.
That's the ball 20 metres. You've got to be incredibly self-centred. Schultz, almost a little throw out to Westhoff.
Interesting BT in that last centre bounce. St Kilda had 8 forwards, so Port rolled another one around, and St Kilda went, no, we're going to man up here, so they're not going to allow Port to have a loose man tonight.
Just too good a bloke, Lingy, to be a full forward. I think he's too honest. He's too team orientated.
That was meant for Hayes, off hands. Opportunity here for Colquhoun. Goes in towards Moore. Couldn't find him. Now Robertson to clear wide. Dempster. Half back for the Saints.
He's gradually starting to lose it though, Lingy. Doing tomato sauce.
There's a bit of head wobble about him in there. He's just starting to...
Adds for tomato sauce. He's really heading down Media Street, Lingy. I think he's lost to coaching now. And over the top here. A big chance for Lee at the back. Keeps it alive. Waits for the troops to arrive. Alapati Carlisle arrives.
Just learning from the best, you blokes.
Yes,
Richo and BT.
Tell you one thing I'm enjoying about the game already, Lingy, watching Port Adelaide. They are a very organised team. They seem to be able to get off and cover for each other very well. Ken Hinkley has got them on transition. They're in the right spots. Richo, for a young team. That's a good indication of how well the coach is going.
Well, Ken Hinkley spoke before the game with us, Das, about the fact that they want to build their game off their defensive play. Defend well first and then worry about the attack from there. And I think he'd be pleased with the way these young players are learning that.
Port in the middle.
They defend well, but when they win the footy, you can see, look at them all spreading through the corridor there. So they do push hard forward once they win the footy.
Started well, Colquhoun, involved in that passage again. Robertson in a defensive manner, but only as far as Hartlett. So Hartlett at half forward will look deep and long, and oh boy, about that. Del Santo to Jones wide. Jack Stephen there, Hartlett try and make amends.
Not a good feeling that when you lose your feet as you kick. It's he's nearly kneed himself in the head.
Like a bike crash in the Tour de France. I had the speed wobbles up as he hit the deck. That happened to Robbie Gray last week too, I reckon.
Yep.
Here's Boak, the skipper. Deep looking for Schultz, who's been in pretty good touch as well.
He had Robbie Gray really deep. He was trying to kick that drop punt 75 metres as he wound up. Hamish Hartlett, he just overdid it a bit.
Colquhoun again. Del Santo
Look at that,
Lenny
Lenny
Hayes just lower and harder than the skipper boat there. I think it was Boak it was. And a real good old-fashioned scrap here.
They've done well, the Saints. They didn't touch the footy. Port Adelaide had 2 goals, and this is why, because you've got leaders like Lenny Hayes putting their head over it, winning hard balls, and look at that, they're right back in the game now.
Good to hear you blokes finally get on board with the hard stuff too.
Yeah, put his head over that, Lingy. We like that. We liked it. Gray, snap around the body. Westhoff, fingertips.
Yeah, he starts down back, Westhoff, and then just pushes hard forward and ends up in the goal square. He covers a lot of ground for a big man. He'd be wanting to make a bit of amends too tonight.
He's got the beard as Westhoff. I know Das forced every player in the AFL to shave them off a few months ago.
Certainly got a few. Got a few of the Melbourne players, I think, got inside their heads. I'm still not keen on Kate Simpson.
Poor kick, intercepted here by Pittard, and Pittard drills it home for Port's third.
Yeah, just a costly turnover. You don't mind them taking a risk coming through the middle of the ground, but you just must hit your targets there, or else it's a goal every time. And Pittard pounced on it and converted. Yeah, that just over the Armitage head. Turnover on the 50-metre line, goal. But Scotty Waters, the runner, will go out and say, keep trying to bring it through the corridor. We don't mind that. Skill error, it's going to happen.
Up high was Hickey in the middle.
Hey, fend off, Port Adelaide.
So the fend off, this will be 50.
50 metres.
Yes,
Oh, that's
because
costly,
he
isn't
said
it?
Port Adelaide as well.
Got him in the face of the forearm.
Well,
Yeah,
I
that's
sort
the
of
initial
feel for
free
young,
kick.
young Josh Saunders a little bit, because you assume that your own teammate who had the footy is going to get the free kick, and a fend off, that probably happens 1 in 50. So he's backed it in, and that just kills you, doesn't it, when you're a coach? Scotty Waters, you can't believe it.
He tried to take it on and anticipate that his team had won the free kick. He just needed to turn around and make sure, just put his head back, and he didn't. He just put it down and charged towards goals. Kicked the goal in the end, but
Big penalty, isn't it, for
it's costly.
misunderstanding? Sure.
So as a result, Lobie gets a look from just 35 metres out directly in front. The 24-year-old. This for a 13-point lead here, midway through the first quarter. Lobie drills it. They've been very, very accurate in front of goal tonight.
Kicked it nicely, the big man. Both ruckmen on the board with a goal each. That one courtesy of a little present, a 50-metre penalty, so he's equalled up with Ben McAvoy, who kicked a goal earlier.
Here's a fend-off free kick. Richo for Armitage. Push through. Just the replay didn't show a heap in it, did they? You can see why Saunders probably thought it was time to play on. That's big.
It wasn't
big
obvious now, and that's
No.
probably why.
Didn't show much at all, did it? Hickey again up high. Wingard. I don't know whether he knew Westhoff was there, but it went straight to him. About the spin out of the tackle, back to Westhoff. Westhoff was very, very impressive from Gray and kicks the third in a row for Port Adelaide.
I'm going to give Chad Wingard the benefit of the doubt there. I think he's a good enough player, that man, right there on your screen, to have understood that the handball was on. It was brilliant hands, and it set up the opportunity for Westhoff. Just got some unbelievable talent. Chad Wingard having an enormous season.
We'll have a look at this. At the centre bounce, there's Justin Westhoff. Reece Stanley just lost concentration, got caught ball watching. Westhoff charges forward. He's been doing it since the start of the game. Gets the handball back, kicks the goal. He's now in the centre taking the ruck, but just got caught ball watching, Reece Stanley.
5 goals to 2. Gray again decisive in the middle as Port Adelaide attack. Gwilt's under enormous pressure from Butcher. Picked up by Robert and kicked straight down the throat of Wingard. He marks, there's shorts on everywhere. So many that he's confused. In the end, he goes long and high to the square. It's a little heavy. And they punch through in the end from Stanley.
He's a versatile player, isn't he, Westhoff? He's now gone into the ruck to give Lobe a break.
Stanley again. Boak gathers just outside 50, Broadbent. Sends it to the top of the square. Schultz lining himself up here. He's a great aerialist. And he takes a very nice mark.
Yeah, you're spot on, BT. He is a great aerialist, Jay Schultz. When he arrived at Richmond as an 18-year-old, he was taking a hanger a week in the twos out at Coburg. Took plenty in the seniors as well for the Tigers, and now he's doing it at Port Adelaide. Always loves to jump in a pack situation.
From my memory, if he kicks this, it'll be 4 goals with Port's last 7 kicks, Richo. They will have kicked 4 goals from their last 7 kicks, if successful.
It's another world record tonight.
Schultz, 30 metres out, stabs. 4 goals from Port's last 7 kicks.
They are an impressive lineup, Port Adelaide. It's been one of the great turnarounds in 12 months. They are a completely different side of the team that we saw last year. Improved players on every line. Jay Schultz, big pack mark and a hanger. They've got a good energy about him as a side. Pretty happy with the way they've started here on Saturday night footy. Good pack mark from Jay Schultz. Joe pointed out he's capable of doing that. Kick was good. Brilliant start for Port Adelaide.
He took one at the MCG earlier this year, right on the goal line, which just about win mark of the year.
Westhoff under pressure. Oh, did he throw that? Boy, he got it to E, but it looked like it. And now off hands.
I'm with you on Justin Westhoff, and I again congratulate Ken Hinkley the way he's coaching him. He was in and out consistently as trying to play deep forward. You know, to start him at centre back, let him run from there, to give him a run in the ruck, to play him forward, it just gives you more chances to win the footy, and his confidence is way up, and I reckon that's really good coaching from Ken Hinkley. He seems to have found the right formula for Westhoff.
Lee was in amongst it initially there for the Saints, and all they can do is hold it up here at halfback and try and stop the rot.
It suits his strengths. He's a great runner.
He dived on it, but then the
He
ball
can take
came
a big
out.
mark, so get him up running around the ground, not stuck inside
1 metre ruck.
forward 50 with a direct opponent, because he can burn them off up the ground.
Umpire Matthew Leopard taking a long time to throw the ball up. Just throw it up. Don't worry about talking to him. Just throw it up, Matthew. Get on with it.
Play on.
Quick kick, Wingard at full pelt. Someone got their fingers in amongst that. Lobe is able to advance the ball in the grey direction. Under the ball by Dempster, nicely done. There's the user, Montagna. Guess what? It's going to come back. Rewalt tangles in the middle of the ground. In the meantime, Port have messed this one up, and Saunders got a high tackle.
Yeah, Rewalt basically got pushed over in the middle of the ground. The umpire didn't see it. It was way off the play.
Milne. Players going down everywhere at the moment. McAvoy having a bit of stoush with O'Shea behind the play as well.
I reckon.
Sorry, Richo, Nick Hickey just didn't understand the right. He led his opponent into Rewalt's space. Rewalt had actually had Trengo beaten on the reverse lead, and Hickey just had to stay out of there because that was when Milne wanted to kick it.
Yeah, he got him over the back, didn't he?
Yeah.
Jack Stephen, he got falconed by that kick before. I'm telling you.
Cahoon has had plenty of the footy already. And a free kick downfield will go the way of Boat.
Time back on.
Good share into the head off the boot at close range can just about concuss you. That was
Surprised he's still out there.
Pittard's already got one. He just couldn't quite get around on the left boot. Long ball. And a free kick's paid to Butcher here. Interference against Robertson. Now, what's Big Butch got here? Has he got a play on in him? Boy, he's rather stiff. Here he comes around the corner. Butcher for his 3rd goal. It clipped the top of the post.
He's got a dangerous look about him. Here it is here. Here's the Falcon. Bang. Oh, Chad Wingard off the left foot, and Jack Stephen, well, I'm not sure how he's still standing. That was like Lennox Lewis, big left there.
That footy was going to go 60 metres the other way. It's gone off Jack Stevens' forehead and ricocheted 20 metres back the opposite direction.
Tough boy out of the Geelong Falcons footy factory, Mickey Turner down there.
Got him on the hard part of the forehead, didn't it? If it got him in the temple, she was good night, Jack.
Dennis Lane finds the tough little man, Jack Stephen. Now Milne from the wing, looking for Lee, who did well to try and keep the footy in front of the outstretched arms, and a free kick played here. It'll go the way of Hickey. Plays on with a handball inside. Here they go. Nice little kick finds Dennis Lane.
Yeah, well done, Clint Jones. Just a little shepherd there for Dennis Lane to come back. Gee, they need this to steady her.
So Dennis Lane will line up, and just as you say, Richo, steady the ship. They haven't kicked a goal now for some 14 minutes in this game, so they just need to recompose things. Oh, boy. Dennis Lane is going to let this rip, and he does, but to the right-hand side. Oh, boy. He has missed it.
That's disgraceful behaviour in our commentary box, Peter. I think.
Come on, Das.
Nah, we need to out someone here.
Up they go, Westhoff, who looks in really lively touch. Not many left in the box.
It's humid in here.
Handball over the top, an opportunity now. O'Shea involved, Ebert here with the bounce towards the boundary line. That's down the field. He got it in the back against Reece Stanley. Scotty not happy. And I think it'll be a Robbie Gray kick.
BT, the umpire's called push in the back. I thought that was back from where the kick has occurred rather than down the field.
Well, it should have
played it. They have played
But
it
it
downfield.
depends whether the push was after he got rid of it, Lingy, I think.
Okay.
Is the definition there. So it was marginal. In the meantime, he centres the footy, Gray, and he finds Schultz, who is a really good kick of the footy.
He's a great kick, and he always presents Jay Schultz at the ball carrier. Just leads up all day. And he saw a little hole, and he presented into it.
He's got a really natural, textbook-looking kick, I reckon, Jay Schultz.
You're big on his kicking action, aren't you,
Yeah,
BT?
I am.
He gets good momentum.
This is a tough one. I really don't expect him to make this kick, but he is good. Nice, fluent, fast run-up. He hits it straight, and it's a tough one to make, but he kicks it just to the right, but it looked really nice off the boot.
Just back to the blue dot.
Gets the ball to spin beautifully.
Blue dot. Thanks, mate.
Nice and crisp. See the umpire telling, I think it was Gray to come back on the blue dot there, that they've got marked to help them signify where the correct meterage is. Haven't seen that dot on the ground before, Das?
Didn't know there was a blue
No.
dot, Bristle.
Might see if we can get our cameras to tune in on the dot. Not a real interesting TV, but we'll have a look at it anyway.
Thanks, Lenny.
I imagine it's just the blue dot.
Matty, half a metre. Thank you.
Umpire throws it up.
Mate.
Out wide, Armitage again. Left side, high ball's one to the wing, under pressure. Hickey, Alapati Carlisle was hit with some friendly fire there. He gets back to his feet. Luckily, as Stewart tries to extract, Wingard in there as well, and Hickey.
The courage from Wingard, as you said, BT, it was friendly fire, but that man there, we've seen his skill. We know he's got enormous kicking ability, but that is great to see that he's prepared to do that as well, Chad Wingard.
Oh, they are a committed bunch, Darcy.
Oh, yeah.
All aspects.
But I reckon Coach Kenny Hinkley's heart would have been in his mouth there. Chad Wingard, the young superstar, loves his bravery, but certainly doesn't want him getting hurt going back like that.
That was almost kamikaze style.
Oh, that was crazy.
Is there a point where you almost tell your players not to put themselves in too much of a dangerous situation?
A really good debate, this one, because I don't think players can turn it on and off. I think when you see it, you just have to go. And everyone who's been on a footy field knows that is the moment you're tested. But as you get older, I think you probably understand that if you can't mark it, you actually only a chance to get injured. You've got to just pick the time to go.
Schultz. Now, Needs got in front of the footy here. It was a bit of Pagan's paddock style thing, but they couldn't capitalise.
Clint Jones has got the job on Hartlett here, but Lingy, it might be time to go to Boak. He's smashing them around the clearances. He's had 4 clearances, Travis Boak.
Yeah, quality play. He's had a quality year. It's hard. Who do you tag? It's either Hartlett, Boak or Wingard. I think that's the beauty of Port Adelaide. They've now got options. It's not just the one player who's doing all the damage.
Here they go again. Attacking out wide. Broadbent round the corner looking for Butcher again. He elevates this time Roberton. Or Simpkin it was. Got a hand there. Simpkin looking a little like Roberton, who has their footy. Can't see the blue dot there. Roberton plays on and kicks it out wide looking for length, and Lobie is there.
I'm not sure Dylan Robertson's your designated kicker from full-back. I think he's got other skills, but that ain't one of them.
Wingard marks.
And that's costly, because you turn it over from your kick in, there's generally going to be players out inside forward 50, especially a smart player like Wingard. He'll find space, and Ebert hits him and he doesn't miss. He's a beautiful shot at goal, Wingard.
They are kicking well.
13-5 from set shots, so he's pretty reliable.
In comes the young gun, Wingard, and he just strokes that magnificently. That's their 7th goal of the quarter, Port.
Yeah, it wasn't a very good kick in at all from Roberton. And big Lobie took the mark, got it quickly off to a kicker who finds Wingard, who's, as we said, a beautiful set shot at goal. And they're off to an absolute flyer.
Their best opening term since 2009, Port Adelaide. And have a look at the inside 50s. The last 10, only 1 with the Saints.
Yeah, it's 17 to 4 inside 50s for the quarter. It's been a smashing. Port Adelaide have really blown this one wide open in the first quarter.
That's Melbourne-like of last week, where I think they averaged just under 5 a quarter inside 50s, which was a world record low, as Hayes gets them another one, but Broadbent on the end of it. Risky kick, it stayed up in the air a while. Did really well Webster to engage there and give the Saints some life. Keeps it alive. Westhoff with the bear hug. Farron Ray around the corner. 1.5 minutes remaining in it. Trengove to Wingard. A no-looker. The use of handball superb. Moore to Pittard. Pittard, the push off from Del Sando, runs with a footy. Gee, they're a lively outfit. Eventually the Saints outnumbered them, caught up with them. And Montagna realised he gave it to Big Boy and said, give it back. I'm the man. Is that late? Umpire says yes. Armitage will be within about 20 metres of goal.
And this is just what the Saints needed to make the most of a 4:04 with a minute to go. And it was a reasonably soft 50-metre penalty. I'm not sure Broadbent could have done much more, but
it's the penalty doesn't fit the crime, really, does it? I mean, there was hardly anything in that.
I think David Armitage just looked up there when he realised he got the 50 and thought, I've milked that one very nicely, I'll take that.
Correct.
Armitage, only about 25-30 metres max, 25 it is. A little bit of an angle, favours his left side, and he's just tried to chip it, stroke it, push it, rather than kick it crisply.
I know you've got a theory on that, BT, that you're allowed to have a 3-quarter kick.
That was under what I would have liked.
But you just have to give it more, don't you? You've got to follow through. He's
got to hit it like that. In the golf terms, if you hit a 7-iron and you're looking to get the maximum distance out of it, you hit it hard, and the 7-iron will do the work for you. That's what I mean by it. But
you compare that to Wingard's kicking action, and the way that he has gone about it as well is completely different. Jay Schultz as well has just got more momentum through the footy.
Go over the line, Sean.
So they've kicked the last 5 goals here,
Over the line.
Port Adelaide, and they have been absolutely committed. And St Kilda know they're in a game as Dempster looks for Rewalt. Big pack of players, just the 10 seconds remaining. So St Kilda are the only ones that can score from here. Stephen breaks loose, he can't. Hickey needs a kick in and a mark here. This will count if it's marked. No, out of bounds, said the umpire, so we won't have any further score to the 32-point lead that Port have here at the moment. Kicked the first two, Port. Butcher was on fire. Then St Kilda leveled it up with the next two. And the last 5 have belonged to this really improving Port Adelaide side. Quarter time scores here. Port Adelaide 7-4-46. St Kilda 2-2-14.
You see Sean Renner is a highly regarded coach. Tyson Edwards, a former Adelaide Crows.
Alan Richardson, who should be coaching at senior level.
Could not be more highly regarded. You've got Josh Carr, who's a Port Adelaide premiership player. They've just got a good crew around and feel as though they are a club on the move, Richo, big time.
Well, they're on the move, and if they win and continue on as they are tonight, they'll be back in the 8 at the expense of the Blues. Collingwood, of course, lost earlier to the Gold Coast Suns, so they will not move this weekend.
Kane Corns has tweeted through saying, great start, fella. Pretty obvious that Kane, I would have thought, but no, it is a great start by Port Adelaide. 7 first quarter goals, and all of that without their best defensive player, as Stewart has a ping in the opening 30 seconds.
Once again, just too easy out of the middle of the ground for Port Adelaide.
Out of bounds on the full there by Simpkin. Another one out of the footy factory. Simpkin, Jack Stevens, Boak and Pittard. All 4 players here played with the Geelong Falcons under Mickey Turner. Here's one of them, Pittard. Sends it forward bound, got interrupted in his run there, Butcher, but over the back, it has landed in the waiting arms of Monfries. Now he's looking to pass off here. This kick suits him because he's a right to left, even though this is the left to right slider pocket. He is a right to left worker of the footy.
He's been a great find for Port Adelaide. 24 goals, this will be his 25th for the year if he can put it through, and they've got a dangerous forward line now. Multiple options.
Really added something, and there it is. That little right to left there, and Monfries gets another.
Gee, slipped over as he kicked that one, BT, but he got the job done. It's normally a pretty good shot on goal. 25 goals for the year, and all of a sudden you've got Schultz down there, Butcher tonight, looking dangerous. Got some options, obviously. Wingard has also kicked over 20 goals for the year. He can do this, Angus Monfries, just read the flight of the ball better than the St Kilda defenders. And his opponent wasn't expecting it to come over, and then just a slip there. Put it through, though.
Yep, front up.
So good start again here to Port in the second quarter. Means they've kicked 6 consecutive goals now. Dalsano with a clearance. Goes forward to Rewalt, who's swamped every time the ball goes near him. Dalsano's kick to Dennis Lane. Broadbent muscled it out, but he's kicked it out of bounds on the full. No, I reckon a ball got a piece of the line. Not a huge crowd here tonight, as you can see the middle deck here. Reasonably sparse that Eddie had tonight. As the St Kilda supporters drop off in their rebuilding stage. Broadbent out the back. Did well. Gathered the footy. Stewart now. Caught in the tackle. He just took a little too long picking it up, and Armitage got him.
Yeah, good chase here from Armitage, putting some forward pressure on tackles inside your forward half of the ground. It's so valuable.
Ebert claiming the mark, the umpire agreeing there as he lunged forward. Now they try and get it out into space on the opposite side of the ground. Ebert taking a couple of bounces in this game already. Beautiful disposal, finds West off.
See how he took the game on, though. He played on up the middle.
And he made something happen.
Yeah, he made something happen. He made his teammates run into space. Westhoff had to push into space, and you've got to take the game on.
Look at the big ruckman getting out wide and presenting up. Lobe.
Saints have done well here, though. They've been able to hold them back up on the wing. Got to go down the line.
Monfries again, this time a long way from home. Angus Monfries. Enjoying some moderate success at Port Adelaide. High footy. No player competed for Port. Gray out the back door can go. Farron Ray between he and the goal made him kick it, Ray.
It's just amazing to me watching the transformation of a group of players before your eyes. Guys that maybe didn't have confidence 12 months ago, were a bit inconsistent. Every time I look up, you see Hamish Hartlett, who I reckon is a really gun young player. Wingard to burst onto the scene as a potential All-Australian. They've got Butcher now, he can take a mark. Jay Schultz has reinvented. Loby's a talented young ruckman. It's a side that's got a lot of excitement about it.
Stewart to Wingard. Wingard within range from 50 here. So he'll kick from just outside the red line that represents 50. Wingard. He just flexes the hamstrings. Not a bead of sweat on Wingard at the moment as he gets some momentum, some leverage, and that's a good hoik of the ball. Boy, oh boy. Wingard with his second.
What about that for a kick, Richard? It's just so talented, and to swing out and understand that you needed to do that to get the distance, but then to hit it that well is just so good.
Well, he just seems to have everything, Darcy. He can mark the footy. He's got great skills. He uses it well. He's a great decision maker. He's looking like a pretty complete player at the moment.
Well, as we watch Chad Wingard kick this goal, his brilliant skill. They've now kicked the last 7 goals in this game. An impressive display. Lee, is this a side that you think could challenge come finals time?
Well, Darcy, I would have said they would have struggled to win 3 games this year before the season, so they've blown me away completely all year. So why not? They just have quality players like Hartlett, like Wingard, taking the game on. They're playing with so much belief. There's no reason why they can't. You wouldn't think they'd go all the way, certainly, but there's no reason why they can't knock off a couple of big teams come finals.
Just glanced down at the stats page and have seen that Gwilt and Stanley have had no possessions between them and have spent more time on the ground than any other St Kilda players. Gwilt just gets his first then. It's more time on the ground than any other players. 1 possession now between them.
The problem Port Adelaide may have in the finals, if they stay where they are at the moment, around 8th position, is if you project it out, it looks like Freo may be the team that finish on 5th. You wouldn't want to go to Perth in your first week of finals.
Gee, Richo just 7 games out, predicting how it's all going to finish at the end of the year,
I did the predictor during the week, BT.
Right, so just got it all mapped out.
You can do that. It's the ladder predictor. You ever heard of that?
30 out to Westhoff. How many points are there left, Das, in the premiership year? A couple hundred.
Fair bit to play out still, I would have thought. But there's a bit of crystal ball gazing for Richo, which is
wrap
good.
it up and bring round 23 forward.
I personally like it, Richo.
When you work in football, you need to actually have a look at things, boys, and actually do the predictor. Spent my week doing that, Brian.
Richo with the predictor. Boke.
Play on.
Armitage carries him forward. Oh, a little high one then on Trengove. Accidental from Rewalt.
Arms up.
46-point lead here at the moment. They have kicked 7 consecutive goals, Port Adelaide, and are giving the Saints a bit of a licking. They have a very young side here, Port. So do the Saints. Not a lot of experience, in fact. Their games between 1 and 200. They only have 4 players tonight with games numbering 100 to 200 or in between, which is almost a generation of players that's missing off the St Kilda list.
Well, they've got obviously the gun players that have played over 200, Rewalt, Montagna,
Nothing
Hayes,
in the middle.
but nothing in the middle. And if you have a look at the last 3 premierships, Collingwood in 2010 had 10 players in that bracket, 100 to 200. Geelong had 8 in 2011.
And that's not a negative thing.
No.
We're just saying that's a fact of their list that's playing here
It's
tonight.
just where their list's at the moment. There's a big hole there.
And that's why they've debuted another one here tonight in Curran, their 37th player of the year.
Holding the ball, Stephen Milne.
Milne's ball
Stephen
here.
Milne. Straight up, please. Straight up, please.
Umpire Stuart Wen. An experienced campaigner here says, Milne, it's your kick. Haven't kicked a goal since the 9-minute mark of the first quarter here, the Saints. Hayes from fairly deep over the top of Ebert. Handball out to Joey Montagna. High ball. They fly. Lee was there. He couldn't win it in the air off hands.
You just see Nick Reebok there, Bristol. Big sigh. Just an element of frustration. There's no flow at all in St Kilda's game. He's working as hard as he has done every game in his career, but he looks up. There's no space, nowhere to lead, and Port Adelaide just got their system working perfectly here tonight.
Fisher to come back. Look, they are in a rebuilding stage, St Kilda, and so we can't be too critical of them.
Younger side they've fielded for 14 years. Really shouldn't compete, but the exciting thing for me watching tonight is that you can do it quickly. You can improve players. Port Adelaide are living proof that if you develop your own players, you don't have to wait 5 years to be a better side.
Yep.
1 metre rucks.
A lot of players around the footy here. Rewalt amongst about 5 Port Adelaide players, and we'll have another ball up.
Yeah, the Saints have released a player back behind this stoppage now, and that's why Westhoff, as you can see on your screen there, is loose at the back. His direct opponent is loose in the middle for the Saints.
Montagna. Gwilt back to Montagna. He's a beautiful kicker of the footy. That's in a great spot. McAvoy has added another one to the highlights reel.
Yeah, well done, big boy. Again, on that occasion, he's just caught Lobie trying to get back and defend, and something Lobie's got to understand is that when your man is in the forward half of the ground, you can't zone off. You've got to become a lock-on defender. He should have had his arm across there and competing with McAvoy, but credit to McAvoy, he was able to do it. Kenny Hinkley hasn't had too many dramas tonight, but he won't be happy with that effort.
Jack Noon's got a fair weight in the back with the knee from his teammate McAvoy. So big boy steps to the plate looking for his second goal, and he makes no mistake.
Well done, Ben McAvoy. Second goal for the evening as a ruckman. Pushing forward and presenting up the corridor. Gets a rest now, comes off the ground. And the Saints will send big Tom Hickey into the middle. Deserves a rest. Ben McAvoy, 2 goals.
Straight back, guys. Jump at the footy.
There's the style of McAvoy. He liked it before it had even gone halfway. Second goal for him, and a much needed one. Back to a 40-point margin. Hayes looking for the clearance to go with it, but Lobie not letting that happen.
Who's the wing? Thanks, Lee. Keep the metre. Thanks, Matthew. Matty, half a metre.
We talked earlier in the game about the Saints going one-on-one all over the ground, but they're now prepared to start a loose player at the centre bounces in their defence. That was Reece Stanley. That meant Westhoff was loose at the other end, and gee, I don't know if I want him running off the back of the square loose.
Hickey, Kung Fu style Robertson, didn't connect. Wines. Dennis Lane to Del Sando on his non-preferred right. That's a sizzling kick to the lead of Rewalt from Del Sando.
That's the first time Nick's really got a good look at one tonight, Das, I reckon.
And it's when their guns combine, isn't it, Richo? If Montagna gets hold of the footy, or Del Sando and Lenny Hayes, Rewalt's in the vicinity, you're getting the glimpses of what this made this team. One of the great teams over the last 6 or 7 years. They played in grand finals regularly. They're just in this phase where they've got to get games into young players, trying to develop them. But great to see this man having the year that he's having.
Rewalt, for his second goal, has kicked it left and just makes the journey. Stewart. Wide, Butcher at the back. Did well to compete there, Ebert.
Yeah, that's the important kick to stop. You get that first one inside your forward 50, the Saints. You then need to cut off the next kick, and they did that well then, blocked the exits really well.
Stevens squirted the handball to Farron Ray. On the corner by Ray, but Stewart in front has been paid the mark. So they'll look to get it to the fat side here. A little half chip and Rewalt's caught broad bent high.
Yeah, got away with one there, Port. Risky kick. Nick just caught broad bent high, but they'll continue to try and come through the middle.
Trengove, ungamely looking action, but gets the job done. So Port Adelaide just going into slow down mode here at the moment to regain the ascendancy, because St Kilda have been better over the last couple of minutes. Tell you what, there's some Port players open here at the moment as O'Shea gets the footy. Could have gone wide.
I know we're seeing Kenny Hinkley's praises, but they have got a great understanding of this group, and they're so well coached.
Stewart down to Monfries, and Monfries marks. It was open down the corridor all the way there, and Monfries will line up.
They just shifted the play with the switch across their defensive 50. It moved everyone across. They just worked harder to the other side of the ground. Then they come back through the middle.
Tougher kick here for Monfries because he is a right to left worker now. What's happened here? Umpires stopped the run, so he must get extra time. And he's passed off to Robbie Gray.
He's got 1 metre.
This man's returning from a horrific knee injury. It was the whole lot, and his return's been great. It looks like he's got his lateral movement.
It's a massive hyperextension last year. It was really ordinary to watch.
Gee, that mouth guard, he doesn't know whether it's in or out. It's popping in and out as Gray comes in from 35 metres out, and he felt comfortable, and they've got another one.
He's got talent all over the ground. Port Adelaide, we always knew Robbie Gray was a good player. And starting to really gain some confidence back now after having that knee reconstruction. Did it early last year in round 4, and to come back this year and be able to play 12 games, up to 10 goals now, and you can just see he's really building week to week.
Same again, boys. Keep jumping.
Have a look at the mouth guard here from Robbie Gray. It's in, it's out. It's in, out, out, in. And then the kick as well. Robbie Gray has done very well last night. Let's get down to Doc Larkins. Doc Larkins, it's been a great return for Robbie Gray.
Yeah, we remember round 4 was one of the most visual, disturbing ones, the hyperextension and knee reconstruction, and back playing beautifully. He can't get the mouth guard in, but his knee's stable, Brian.
O'Shea almost stumbled as he kicked there. Monfries, who wasn't confident to kick the last one. Gee, Schultz threw it out. Wingard was there. Jones looking for the underground handball. Eventually tidied up in there by Saunders. There he goes again, Saunders. Cleverly got boot to ball. Otherwise, he would have been pinged. That's play on, touched off the boot. Pittard's caught and he's slung in the tackle.
Touch off the boot.
Just that last was a bit on there.
Get it in.
And Boak wanting to dispute here with Rewalt for that sling action tackle, which I didn't think there was too much in it.
Yeah, Nick won out there, just the bigger, stronger man.
Pittard,
the points there,
beautiful kick in front of Butcher. He decelerated as he got closer to the footy then. Look at Port Adelaide lining up here. Oliver Wines was there. Saunders again, but no one home. Broadbent dropped the put. Trengove right across the ground to Paddy Carlisle. Centre half back. Port. Ebert now. Need offers something short. Monfries again gets out of the loop. This is too far for him, this one.
Geez, he's presented it at footy well, though, Monfries.
And
always
there's
has.
Lobe. Beautifully done. He's a very talented, clean player, Monfries.
He is. Unselfish, too. He's always looking to give it off. Here's the wrestle there. Nick Rewalt started the little...
It was okay, wasn't it?
There.
Not a lot in it.
15 guard.
But I even like this about Port Adelaide. They've got a bit of aggression about them as well, Bristol. They're prepared to stand up for their mates and get in your face.
Rewalt had to get a new jumper after that. As Lobe comes in, sprays it across the face. Hasn't quite got the journey. Schultz keeping it alive. Dangerously, Robbie Gray kept it alive. Got it to Wingard. That would have been something out of nothing there. They live to fight another day. The Saints cracking in. And that'll be a free to Wines, I think.
Gee, that's... Scotty Waters will be pretty disappointed with that. You have to get that through for a behind. It was a 2-on-1 on Schultz on the goal line. Have to force that through.
Going to Hartlett, is it? It is. So Hamish Hartlett will accept the free.
And he's a good kick of the footy. this man, Hamish Hartlett. Robbie Gray got up a little bit sore from that contest before, but no issue here for this man distance-wise.
For a whopping 51-point lead with lots of time till the half-time break. Hartlett works it right to left and misses.
Oh, it's a big hit there from
Big Tommy Jonas, that was, on Dylan Robertson. That would have rattled the cage a little bit for Robertson.
Big time, Lee. Big shirt front.
There's that switch there, Lingy out of defence that they were going to try and stop Port Adelaide.
Yeah, they're doing a terrific job of it too.
Das, we spoke before about the improvement of Port Adelaide and the fact that St Kilda have got no one between that 100 and 200 games. Got to remember that Port had heaps of first-round midfielders like Boak and Hartlett and Wingard and Wines, and then Trengove and Butcher as well, and top tenors. And really, St Kilda haven't had that, have they? No. So it's hard to see them coming through as quick.
Yeah, that's what's a real concern at the St Kilda list. You're right. The talent was there for Port Adelaide. It was just going to take time. But when you lose Del Santo, Montagna and Revolt, it's a big rebuild for St Kilda.
Pittard right to the line, Butcher.
And it's one thing to have those first-round picks. It's another thing to see them emerge as the sort of players you want to. And that's where your recruiting comes in. And the exciting thing from a Port point of view, Rich, shows that all those names BT just mentioned, you can see them being 200-game players.
Yeah, absolutely, no doubt. They don't get a lot of first-rounders wrong now, do they? The real top 10 picks.
No, they
normally
appear to be
pretty
much
good
better.
there.
Someone has done some type of study on that, and it has improved dramatically over the last 10, 12 years.
That's what makes Geelong so amazing with the talent they keep bringing through, because they haven't had top 10 draft picks either. Selwood's about the only one they've had in that time.
Saunders here at halfback. Spend a lot of money recruiting departments now getting it right, Rich. I guess that's the difference. Full-time staffs of 3, 4 and 5 at each club now.
Yeah.
Whereas before it was one part-timer.
Yeah, one part-timer and a few scouts around the country.
Yeah, you'd have Bobby down in Tassie and Johnny over in Adelaide and Derek up there in the Northern Territory, and that'd be about it.
Yeah.
Kick forward.
You can't find one now, can you? You can't pluck one from the rough, really.
They're hard to find now.
Remember the mystique of plucking one from somewhere, and they'd have this legend about them before they arrived in Melbourne.
The old timers had built it up.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's like Elvis was coming.
Cast me back to my arrival. Just joking before you get on Twitter.
Yeah,
just a gag.
We know that's the way you roll, BT. Tell us about how you kick 50 goals in 2 games up there.
I don't have to tell you. That's factual. That's recorded in the history books.
Here we go.
Hold. Del Santo.
What'd you kick 50 in 2 games?
Del Santo's free.
It's a big couple of weeks.
Hope no one checks the record books. Del Santo goes wide and Hayes takes the mark. Now, this is a difficult angle for Hazy, but not beyond him with the length of kick here. Hayes. No, he's not incredibly confident here.
What's the mark?
Gets plenty of it. That's a very, very nice strike of the footy. Lenny Hayes, you star.
What a brilliant strike from Lenny Hayes. He's just been an enormous player throughout his whole career, one of the most respected players to play the game. And you wonder whether or not this will be Lenny's last year.
What do you think, Das?
I think he probably is a sort of player that unless he's playing at a level where he's in the top 25 in the game, I get the feeling his standards are so high, I'm not sure he could handle pushing on. I hope for the game's sake he does play on, but I'm doubtful. Great goal from Lenny Hayes, BT. Yeah. We're just talking, what do you think about Lenny Hayes going on next year?
Do you think he will?
I've got my doubts. I'd love to see it happen. I think he's the sort of guy, Richo, whose standards are just so high. I don't think, unless he's performing best and fairest type of standard, I'm not sure he'll go on. What do you think? I hope he does, but I'm doubtful.
Yeah, I reckon he's really weighing it up at the moment, but with that gap they've got on their list, if they lose Lenny Hayes, they just need him around while these younger guys develop a little bit more.
That was his first goal for the year, Lenny Hayes. Big boy did well then to intercept. Kept it alive, but he had no troops helping him as Robbie Gray shoveled it out to Pittard. He wanted the free. Milne tries to back back away. He takes Cahoon on.
I'm pretty sure it'll be his decision, though, Lenny, if he wants to play.
And Richie, I can guarantee, I reckon there'll be 18 clubs lining up to get him straight to their footy club, or St Kilda trying to keep him as an assistant coach. He'd be outstanding.
Might just reduce Lingy's standing in the market a little. Another big star comes onto the market. Free kick here.
You can't ride him like that.
Can't ride him like that, said the umpire. And Dennis Lane.
Just having a look at the tackles for St Kilda, 31 tackles, but 13 of them have been from 2 players, Armitage and Hayes.
Gee.
Just got to spread the load a bit more there. The 2 players doing, you know, almost half the tackling.
To get it back under 40 points, Dennis Lane from 48 metres out on that angle of roughly 45 degrees, a little bit right.
Lee, you were talking earlier about the fact that you can't just pluck some kid from the bush anymore, but you can turn rookie listed players like a Michael Barlow into guns, and you can recycle players. Is that what St Kilda have got to think about doing? Is just trying to find a few around the edges to build up these stocks to fill the gap of 100-game players?
Yeah, a little bit of that. You've got to really look to be creative with your recruiting and use the VFL system and the state league systems. But then, of course, when you do get the opportunity to pick a high draft pick in that first or second round, you've got to make sure that one works, and you've got to make sure the development and time goes into him to make sure he turns into a 200-game player at your footy club. So a little bit of both, and it can still be done. You see clubs doing it very, very well. Collingwood do it well. Geelong do it well. I think the Hawks do it very well. So it can still be done. It's just got to be very, very smart.
Stewart here for Port Adelaide, and
Come down
outmanoeuvred by Brook.
It can come down to finance as well. Collingwood have a lot more rookie listed players than some clubs do. Just got the ability to put more on.
And in supporting Lingy's theory there, in the last 10 years, the lowest St Kilda has finished is 9th, so they've given great value, but that means they haven't had the high draft picks.
What does Milne do? Who? Here. No one forward of him. Now he goes. He waits. They arrive. Zigzag. And in the end, he got closed down. O'Shea. Jack Stephen was there. The tackle over the top of Ebert. Milne keeps it alive. Fumble there from Stephen. Little handball out the side here to Ebert. He's gone. He's caught, but I don't think he had prior opportunity. Lets it go. Quickly out of the pack was Jonas again. Needs out there, so the sub of last week, Needy, getting involved. It's been a live wire for them this year.
Only a little fella, 170 centimetres, but geez, he's dangerous.
Jakey Need, his 15th game. McAvoy knocked down. Opportunity here in front as Lee. Could not get any room to operate. Boak went and picked it up. Handball out in the Stewart direction, couldn't control it. Westhoff had a crack of it as well. Eventually Armitage went and got it. Gee, a ferocious tackle by Ebert. Hayes in there. Real tough little passage of play. Broad bent now. Stanley flew and landed on his back. Knocked the wind out of him. Centering footy here came from Webster. Jimmy Webster to Robertson. Robertson back to Webster. Now Montagna gets a clean and clear look. He centres. High ball in. Lobe flew. Off hands. A chance the Saints here. Rewalt to Armitage. Armitage little kick around the corner. And now Del Sano. The give to Dennis Lane. Long handball from Dennis Lane. Will bounce through for a behind, of course. The man that Richo took 3 years to realise his surname was Dennis Lane, rather than just Lane.
I did. I thought his name was Dennis Lane.
Well, the half-time siren has come. Port Adelaide by 39 points here. 10-8, 68 to St Kilda 4-5-29. Let's get down to Cameron Ling. Lingy, are you ready to go?
Yes, just got Dylan Robertson here. Port Adelaide got off to a flyer, but boys showed a little bit there late in that quarter just to work your way back into it.
Yeah, obviously they got a fair run at the start, so we just focused on trying to settle them down.
You copped the big one from Tommy Jonas. Are you all right?
Yeah.
I don't think Dylan's head's right at the moment, so I might just let him go. Thanks for that, mate. I think, yeah, BT, sorry about that, but I think Dylan's still a bit shaken up from that hit on Tommy Jonas, so he didn't really know where he was. So no doubt the St Kilda medical staff will check him out. He was a bit all over the shop there.
That was amazing, wasn't it, Lee? He really just actually turned to you and said, I'm not sure where I am at the moment, so let's hope he does get a bit of medical attention.
Either he was very medically had an issue there, or he just wasn't wanting to talk. Let's have a look at it. This is the knock, and oh yeah, head clash. So,
and a lot of people get overawed when they meet Lingy for the first time as well. So
there's his headband lying on the ground just behind him as well.
A big hit.
Have a look at that. Have a look at the headband come off here and that. And there it goes. We're going to take a break. On the other side of the break, we've got a lot to get through. Stay with us. Port Adelaide at the half by 39 points. Scores Port Adelaide here at half-time by 39 points as we're about to resume the second half as we go down to Lingy with the coach of Port Adelaide.
Kenny, we've just seen shots of you addressing the group in the team meeting there. You must have been pleased with the first half, but what's the message coming out now after half-time?
I suppose the trick, Lingy, in that game like that is you need to keep going. You need to keep matching that intensity, and we know St Kilda will come back. As I said, AFL football sides will come after you and they'll get their turn with the ball. We've just got to make sure we keep our intensity up.
Is still the key message being aiming to take the game on, move the ball through the corridor and really get that play on footy?
Yeah, I think so, but I think more importantly for us, if we defend really hard, as I said to you before the game, if we defend really hard first, which we've only given up the 15 entries, is a really pleasing stat for us. Now we've just got to keep attacking them when we get our chance.
Thanks for your time, Kenny. Appreciate it, mate.
Good on you, mate.
Kenny Inkley there with Cameron Ling, and Robin we saw interviewed just as he was leaving the ground. We believe that there may be a sub coming up here. We'll get to Doc in a moment. But this is what happened as we go to Doc Larkins. Doc, what do you know about Robin?
Well, he's in the 20-minute sub concussion period at the present time. It's this incident, Brian. You see him go down there with the actual. He gets a hit in the head itself, so it's the collision rather than hitting the ground. You see, bang, the head thrown back there. His head actually doesn't hit the ground. He had the signs when he landed, Brian, with the way the arms come up, and we heard him with Lingy. He clearly was disorientated and dazed. So currently he's under a 20-minute concussion assessment, but I can tell you just from the way he behaved with Lingy and from that vision, I'm not expecting him to clear the concussion test, and he'll be out for the game.
Thanks, Doc. It was fascinating at half-time. Dylan Robinson was the interview with Cameron Ling, and he looked concussed, he looked dazed. This is what he said to Lingy just at half-time.
Just to work your way back into it?
Yeah, obviously they got a fair run at the start, so we just focused on trying to settle them down.
You copped the big one from Tommy Jonas. Are you all right?
Yeah.
I don't think Dylan's head's right at the moment, so I might just let him go. Thanks for that, mate.
Well done to Lingy, who picked that in a second, and he just said, I'm not sure where I am. So clearly some concussion. That's amazing, isn't it, that you have a chat like that. So well done, Lingy. You're all over it.
Thanks, Star. So I wasn't exactly sure what was going on there at the start, but yeah, he looked like a very sore boy. So hopefully he's okay, and no doubt the St Kilda medical staff will have checked him out at half-time.
So, Doc, just we'll come to you in just a moment as this ball goes forward here. As an opportunity for Schultz, wrapped up in the tackle. Gray through traffic like it wasn't there. Handball back, Hartlett with a long shot at goal. Good-looking football just offline. So, Doc, he is under the 20-minute sub rule. He has not been subbed out completely yet.
Yeah, correct, Brian. They've just activated Curran for the 20-minute period, which started when the bounce of the ball. But you can see from that reaction, I'm not expecting him to pass that. That's true concussion every day.
Yeah, well done to the Saints, though, Doc. They've absolutely applied the rule correctly once they worked out what had happened. They're doing the concussion testing at the moment on...
I don't think it'll be a long test, Das.
Yep.
Pretty conclusive. Ray will stay in touch with Doc on that one. McAvoy running off half-back like a half-back flanker. Good-looking ball to Rewalt as well. Stewart busting through there. Hot on his tail is Lee. Couldn't win it. Westhoff, Lobe. Muscled it out. Montagna had it stolen partially by Westhoff and got bowled over as well.
Come on, guys.
Let's get back down to Doc Larkins.
Yeah, that test didn't take very long, so you'll find that Robertson will be out for the rest of the game. Curran subbed in under the concussion.
Okay, so Curran comes in for his first game. Elevated out of the rookie draft, 2011 rookie draft for his first game. The sub tonight. We'll watch him with interest on the Sandy best and fairest, we believe. Short finds Butcher. Pittard through the middle. Now an opportunity for Ebert. Loves bouncing the footy. I reckon he's bounced it just about every time he's had it in his possession tonight. Webster involved as St Kilda go wide, looking for Hickey. Soft hands there, really should have marked that.
Yeah, Butcher did well, though. He actually...
Gee, he scraps it out, Butcher, doesn't he?
Caused Hickey to second-guess that marking attempt just by throwing his arms up in the air.
Well done, Butcher.
Yeah, good effort across the line. I just want to clear up, if you're watching at home and you're wondering, that interview with Robertson was teed up before the game, so Lingy didn't seek him out on the basis he was concussed to see if we could find that out. It was just purely a coincidence. We had him lined up, and as soon as Lingy realised that he was not with all his faculties, wound it up pretty quickly.
Most of those interviews, we always predetermine up before the game.
Lee flew. Most of them, Richo. We like to have the odd...
the odd one.
You know, live sort of action one. Down the line here. Taken again with ease as Ebert sends it forward bound. Schultz there on a one-out battle off the hands. Gray, he could have gone the other way where there was no one, but he came back to traffic.
Yeah, I think he thought he was under the pump a little bit more than he was then, Robbie Gray.
I'm staggered watching this round of footy. How many modern players can't kick on the opposite side of the body? That was what happened there. Gray just didn't want to go on his left side.
Ebert again. This time competing with the young man, Curran, who's just come on there.
Here's Gray, so he's got all the space on his left side. If he turns back, he's got as much room as he likes. Easy kick on the left. He turned back into a bit of traffic on the right, missed.
Handball initially there from Moore, who, by the way, is the brother of Kelmore. Used to play for the Tigers, now their runner, Richo.
Yeah, he is younger brother of Kel, who retired at the end of last season. Yeah, and he's now the runner for the Tigers, Kel. Good Yarra Valley boys.
So 41-point lead here for Port. 4 minutes gone in the third quarter. Lobe in front. Armitage did well, did really well in the end there to get it to Saunders. Saunders went backwards looking for someone. Montagna eventually sends it into the deep forward position. Great attempt to mark by Westhoff, didn't quite hold it.
Yeah, Yarra Valley grammar for Andrew Moore. Just getting a bit of your style there, BT. Just a bit of school and where they're from.
Oh, well, it always helps to know where you're from, Richo. We all know you're from Tassie.
That's correct.
Is that a factory down there
at Tassie?
It's a factory.
It's a factory, is it?
Production line down there.
You're a bit obsessed with your factories, aren't you, Bristol?
Oh, no, just the ones that operate like factories, and that is spit footballers out all the time. Calder and the Falcons, Geelong.
Some sort of retainer there, Brandy.
Well, I think Geelong have got Falcons got at least 6 players playing here tonight. So that's pretty good effort. Gwilt, high ball. No other junior club in Australia would have that as Lee marks at the back in game 5, 30 metres out.
That's what you want to see. Yeah, it's from a St Kilda point of view, Richo, is just some glimpses of the future and a young man who's able to take a contested mark. Tom Lee, he's a big boy, 194 centimetres and 22-year-old, kicked 3 goals last week. He was pretty impressive. We just want to start seeing some development in these type of players.
Yeah, 4 games, 7 goals. So he started off his career and shown, you know, that he can attract the ball inside forward 50.
Just going with the Buffon look, hair-wise, as he comes in here. Lee, and pretty well point-blank range, and nails it. Gets his first of the night.
He's got a good kicking action. We noticed it last week. He really keeps his head down over the footy. After he's kicked it, he doesn't look up, trying to see where it's gone. Keeps his head down. If you do that, you're going to kick pretty straight, but easier said than done.
There's a real Buffon he's working there, young Tom Lee. This is a nice set shot action. But look at that. It's got a bit of wig about it almost, hasn't it?
It has got a wig look about it, but that's a great action to go with the Buffon.
It's easy to keep your head down over that. A lot of players want to look up and look for the result, BT, don't they?
Classic action. Well spotted, Richo. Armitage. And got him a little high, Hartlett. The first one, the umpire said. And the overlap run out wide from Jimmy Webster is good to Rewalt. And he got a bit of a help into the perimeter piping there. There's Wayne Lumpy down there. One of Australia's best photographers, and Kenny Hinkley not happy with that 50. And this will bring Rewalt within about 10 metres.
Yeah, I'm happy with this. Well, shouldn't seem a heap of force in it, but
Do you reckon 50 metres for that? It was only the fact that...
You know why? It was because it was near the fence. That was the only reason.
that's what I was about to say. Is that I've got a real concern with players pushing people into the fence.
But would that have been 50 in the middle of the ground? And if the answer's no, then it shouldn't have been 50 then, because you've got to be consistent with applying the rule.
It's a fair point you make, Russell.
You're right, Brian.
Oh, well,
Occasionally make a good one.
occasionally. Now, here's Rewalt, the professional, turns to the middle, and they are just so good at that. Well done, Nick Rewalt.
A good start to the second half by the Saints. They've come out and they're competing hard, and they've kicked 2 goals in a row now.
One out, guys. One out. Jump with the footy, guys. Been good.
A couple of goals in a row here for the Saints to start the second half.
3 in a row in total, does.
Yes, Lenny Hayes kicked the last of the first half as well. Lenny, you're at ground level. What do you think the message is from Scotty Waters to keep going, getting back into this contest?
Well, I think they're taking every chance they can to move the ball fast. I think they're taking a leaf out of Port Adelaide's book. Get it in there quick and give your forwards a good chance.
What about the handball from Dalsano? Now leader Rewalt, and he dribbles it along the ground.
But they're just getting their hands on the footy a lot more than they were in the first half. 41 possessions to 24, and they're winning the clearances 6-3. So
Second time this round I've seen a fullback kicker inner.
why do we
Put his foot over the line.
It's like a no ball in cricket, this one. Why do you bother getting so close to us?
It's a good point.
Nominate rucks.
Why do you need that extra 6 inches?
Yeah.
Or the extra couple of centimetres.
1 metre.
Just wouldn't worry about it, would you?
It's a good point, especially when you're going short. What is the point? Rewalt had a ping at him then. Under pressure was Cahoon. And now, out of trouble, the Saints. Quilt. Little kick around the corner is good. Finds Saunders. 35 out. He goes across the ground, Saunders to Simpkin.
Play on.
Simpkin from 60. A little chiseler draws Rewalt to the footy and got a break from Trengove.
I reckon Trengove, Nick's sucking them in, but he's worked pretty hard in the start of this third quarter.
This is the ISO shot of him doing that work, Richo.
And the reason he's been such a good forward is he's always on his toes. He's always moving. He doesn't allow the defender to ever get comfortable. I hate forwards that just stand still and let the defender just put an arm across. You've got to keep on the move.
If he kicks this, St Kilda will have kicked 5 of the last 6 goals. Didn't quite score, but the mark taken by big boy McAvoy. 10 metres out. This is a comeback by the Saints.
Sure is. And the big boy's going to go around the body.
Oh, boy.
I'm not sure that's part of your repertoire, big boy. I'd go back with the drop punt.
Have a look at this. He's saying, how did Nick do it? How did he do it? One step around the body. Don't doubt. Big boy McAvoy.
Well, that's the third time Big Boy's been able to run back to the middle like that. 3 goals, 3 big grabs inside 50.
And more swagger every time he does it.
Tell you what.
And that's a good thing. He's just...
Look, he's saying to Jack Stephen here, you just go there, I'm going to put it down your throat, Jack.
And decided on a little bit of Stevie J action at the end too. What about that? Bit of Stevie J style around the body for the big boy McAvoy. He's kicked 3 and he's made the march back to the centre, which for a ruckman is as good as it gets. You get to strut your way back and eye off your opponent.
If you compare those 3 runs back to the middle, they're getting more and more confident each time.
Oh, yeah.
He has stepped into the magical stuff. Stevie J, roughhead style. Only the elite of the elite doing that sort of kick.
Yeah.
And McAvoy, you could see him thinking through the process. Now, which foot goes where? How do you hold the ball?
He did it beautifully, big boy. Last 4 goals, the Saints.
Yeah, they have a Richo, and 5 out of the last 6, and they're within 22, which is real striking distance. Here's Stanley. Kick needs to be good. It's an absolute cracker. And the mark is taken by the first gamer in Curran.
Geez, they're good hands. This is his first possession in league football.
Good start.
Good grab.
Darren Ray, very deliberate over the top of it. And Del Sano looking to get it out to the fat side. Noons. Stephen. Jack Stephen, the boy from the Great Ocean Road in Lawn, Victoria. Puts it down the throat of Dempster. 70 out. Really on the march. Rewalt marks on 50.
Just blew Trengrove up there, as he has done for so many years. You just can't keep running with him.
Distance and the left to right slide here for Rewalt to contend with. I reckon the distance is maybe just beyond him. Goes out. Tries to go against the slide. There it comes back now. Gee, it came back late. Just fell a metre short.
Here's some live shots inside the St Kilda rooms. Just Dylan Robinham catching up with his family, and well under all concern there. As soon as the Saints were made aware of his drama, they've subbed him out of the game, and the concussion rule works a lot better now than I think it ever has done before.
Was that a delayed concussion, Doc, do you think, with...
Well, no, Brian, I don't. I think if you watch the vision, we'll show it later. His reaction at the time when he got collected and the way his arms went, I think there are early signs, but it would have got worse with time for sure.
Saunders back inside a centre-half, back to Jones. So they're doing all of the possessing of the footy here at the moment. Gee, Montagne's set a monumental task there against Gray, and in the end he won out to Quill. They can't get the footy at the moment, Port.
The Saints are just doing what they please at the moment.
It's Keepy off. Needs selective on the chase there. He was wondering, do I go, don't I go? In the end he did, but Ray's got the footy now. It's Keepy off here at the moment.
Quarter by quarter marks. Look at that, 15-2 in the third quarter. And that is just absolutely accentuating the point you're making. They're just in control of the footy at the moment.
And the skipper's lifted. His work rate is huge. And now we're getting some run off half-back. Look at Ray.
How long is it since they've touched it? Streaming run by Ray. Jack Stephen was there, off hands. There's a touch for Ebert and Hartlett.
Goal save of that from Brad Ebert. Yeah, did really well.
St Kilda, though, with the spoil from Rewalt, did well up against Paddy Carlisle.
They just need to win a clearance here and take a mark and slow it down for a minute, Port Adelaide. The Saints are all over. Look at the disposals this quarter. 38 more in a half of a quarter.
Inside 50s, 8-4 in the quarter. Contested possession, 17-12. Everything is pointing towards St Kilda getting back into the game here. Took a little too long to get rid of it to Jimmy Webster. In the meantime, it goes back in the middle, but it's a 2-on-1. Outnumbering them, outmanoeuvring them, outskilling them at the moment. And that's why they've kicked the last 4 goals of this game.
BT, Port Adelaide will sense the need for more run. They're about to make the sub. Kane Mitchell's about to come onto the ground. I'll let you know who's coming off, but he's got the green vest off.
Okay. As Montagna sends the ball forward bound. Milne being pushed under the footy. Up they fly off hands. Lee thought about going. Did in the end snap at goal.
Well done, Lee. It was a miss in the end by Saunders, but good hands off. Got to control this kicking now. A bit of tempo from Port Adelaide.
20-point margin. Mitchell coming on here for Port, as you heard Lingy say, and Need is very disappointed that he's been handed the vest. He was the sub last week, hasn't done a lot in this game, but he was really annoyed as Wingard again slips. You've got to start thinking about the boots for Port.
Look at the sub. Mitchell has come on. He's running straight back inside 50. He's had to turn around. He'll get hit up here.
Schultz, there he is. He's the reigning Sandover medalist, this guy. He's a 2-time premiership player out of Claremont in the Waffle. He can play. Sends the ball forward bound. Westhoff's there. Punched away from him. Schultz now gathers the front and centre. Gave it up, though, Montagna. What have they got on the counter? The intensity of this game is starting to lift dramatically here. Ray around the corner, looking out wide for Milne, who Tried to turn his man under the body. McAvoy went at it. So, though, did Stewart, and Stewart won out. Wingard now. A lot happening in this game. Hartlett just steadies the ship.
Port Adelaide just have stopped running.
There's Mitchell.
He's the sub-specialist, this man, BT. 9 games played, 7 starting as the sub.
Two-time premiership player at senior level in the waffle. And the reigning Sandover medalist is no slouch, Darce.
No, you can play the game with that sort of CV. But looking at Port Adelaide's response here, I'm equally impressed with what he's done, Ken Hinkley. He's activated the sub, and he's just been able to push a few up the ground, making sure that it's harder for St Kilda to work their way through half forward. So, again, first time I've seen Port Adelaide live for a long while, and they just are an organised team.
Have a look at the build of Mitchell here. Gee, is he wound up like a 44-gallon drum. He's just bolted.
He's got the Tarzan.
He has got the Tarzan look about him.
Interesting dude. He's working as well. It's a sort of ponytail pullback.
That's the samurai dust.
Yeah.
The samurai look.
Looks like
That was a bit of you early 90s, Richo. You had a bit of that going.
Had a bit of the samurai at one point.
Tarzan plays like Kane.
Rated it really highly too, Dust.
Quick hands out, Noons. Ray involved. Penetrating run. Over the top, Saunders. A bit of a partial smother in the middle there by Broadbent was really important. It slowed the charge down. Saunders backs off. Gives it to Montagna. High ball. Big boy again. Boy, I think he ran out of puff when he got there. Spun in the tackle, but his ability to keep the arms free was great. Mitchell to Corey Wingard.
He's got himself involved, Mitchell. Look at him. He's pushing hard again now. That's what you have to do as the sub.
I think I said Corey Wingard. Chad Wingard, of course.
T's been good for the Saints this quarter. Noons cross-half back. He's had 8 disposals and won a couple of crucial contests.
Gee, Mitchell's been on the ground for 2 minutes. I know I've got a fond liking for Mitchell, but he's already had more possessions than the man he replaced, Need. He's had 3 touches in 3 minutes. Need couldn't get 3 in 50 minutes.
Sort of claim young Mitchell as your own, haven't you? So you really
just the build. I just
worked him into a frenzy.
Puffed up like a blowerfish.
I'm not sure he's as big as your son. He is actually.
Well, he mightn't be in height, but gee, has he got a sort of a top end rig that you'd be wanting to get hold of, Richo. There's Broadbent.
Oh, you idiot!
Little one around the corner. Calhoun looking to run onto this. Just got an ordinary bounce at the crucial time, and now the boundary line is his friend. That's Calhoun there. Man, he's gone the young Bieber style bounce.
A fair bit of Gen Y display tonight, isn't there? We've got,
come on, you blokes, give us a break.
Generation that's gone past Richo and I, and well past you, Gristle.
They're not sure where they are, these guys these days. They're trying to set their own out of the middle. Look at this. Saunders again to run on here is really effective. Little one from Noons almost stubbed his toe. Big boy turning around these days and going on the non-preferred.
Oh, well done.
Crunching blow. In the end, St Kilda player, can't quite see who it is down behind the play. In the meantime, Lobe with a sucker handball over the top. Here's Wines, been reasonably quiet tonight. Back to his feet. Little ball out in front of Gray. Can Gray do his man? It's Gray and Webster.
Oh. Webster
and Gray tries to turn him inside out. Jimmy said no, 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 and then got him too low. Play on. Port Adelaide goal. And it's my boy Mitchell.
Yeah, the St Kilda player down behind play was really courageous back with the flight, young Saunders. Created a contest. He's up now, that's good. And from that contest that he created, it slingshot down the other end of the ground. And Mitchell got on the end of it. BT's man, 4 touches in a matter of 5 minutes since he's come onto the ground and kicked a goal.
Just a bone-jarring collision there on Josh Saunders, and it was Tommy Jonas again. He goes hard at the football. He was the one who laid the bump on Dylan Robertson just before half-time. He's a human wrecking ball, Tommy Jonas.
Gee, Lingy going for the crunch up there when my boy Mitchell got the goal again. Come on, Lingy, look at the goals. Armitage got the give and go, and then the threading pass to Rewalt. Magnificent foot skills. Armitage.
And like the change had been made there, it was Alapati Carlisle who was pushing up on Nick Revolt in defence there. There he is, big Alapati. And Jackson Trengrove's got gas coming out of his ears.
Jared Ruffhead held one longer than that today and wasn't paid. In fact, it hasn't been paid. Jack Stephen takes it away from the stoppage and kicks the goal anyway.
Yeah, great goal from the stoppage, and I think if we have a look at the replay, there's a good bit of ruck work there from Ben McAvoy. Jack Stephen got on the end of it, finished it off beautifully, and a good answer by the Saints. Mitchell kicks a goal, they get out to 26 points, the Saints come straight back. They're still well and truly in this contest.
One umpire pay the mark there and the other umpire said no, we're going to ball it up?
I think so. It did come out. Doesn't matter for the Saints. McAvoy does. Nice piece of ruck work.
He's having some night, McAvoy. Hit outs are good, kicked 3 goals.
Saints within 20 again, and I'll tell you what, with 4 minutes left in the quarter, they'd be happy to go to 3-quarter time now, knowing they've reduced it from a 39-point margin. Another goal would be perfect for them, but not beyond them here.
It's just a dominating quarter. They've nearly had 40 more uncontested possessions. It just shows how hard they've been running and spreading.
Boat gave it to Broadbent, wasn't looking, and then his vision. Gee, Clint Jones lucky. He didn't get pinged for going into his back there.
Do you reckon it was an old-fashioned spray at half-time? Like, structure-wise, not a lot's changed. They're just winning the footy, and their desire to run and spread is a lot greater.
Yeah, I didn't see it coming, Rich. I just didn't think they had it in them. I couldn't see how they're going to find their way back, but you don't underestimate their great players, and it's been their real stars to me who've taken the bull by the horns. Montagne's been great. Revolt's been great.
Broadbent's got him. Absolutely got him. Now, he's all over him. You can't lie on him like that. Even when you've completed the tackle, you cannot lie on his back like that and choke him to death. Unlucky Clint Jones.
Well, Lenny Hayes, what a clearance.
Cahoon. Little flick out. Was it a throw to Milne around the corner? Gee, almost had it, Stanley. Westhoff at full-back now. Sends the handball out. Look at the chase from Jack Stephen. Did well to make him kick it when he didn't want to kick it. And he's going for the boundary line. It'll be kept alive nicely here by Webster.
Just that chase then from Jack Stevens and the forward pressure wasn't there in the first half. They've found the ability to really put more pressure on Port Adelaide.
There's Wingard with time and space, and that's dangerous for everyone. Couldn't get it done on that occasion. Simpkin trying to paddle it. Quill. Dempster thought about the handball to Simpkin, realised he was covered in the middle. Look at the opening here.
You're going well when Dempster's selling candy in the back pocket. They're on fire at the moment.
Boy, Dennis Lane wide. Looks for and finds Montagna, who's ripping them to bits.
Yeah, have not taken a mark inside forward 50 this quarter. The Saints' defence has been outstanding.
Montagna into the hole. Milne was being held off the footy, some would say. Umpire said, get on with it, fair enough. Del Sando, big boy. For a moment, he thought about the inside-out banana there, I'm sure. Knowing what he kicked before. This is how you do it. Milne around the corner. Couldn't get all of it. Port Adelaide have got some numbers back here now. Pittard, wide and cool, and finds Alapati Carlisle.
Opportunity going begging there. It was just an errant handball out to Lenny Hayes that missed the target. Lenny was away. I think it was Big Reg Hickey who missed the target.
Gee, they're pressing. They have pressed down on them here, the Saints, and caused a turnover.
Armitage forced that turnover. Hickey got bumped as he kicked the footy and a minor score. Did you see Big Boy before when he picked up the footy? And he was on a funny angle and he said, will I or won't I banana it?
He decided
through his brain.
He decided to handball it, Big Boy.
Oh, look at the Saints. Hayes, Del Sando, hand, Candy, did it well. Armitage back to Hayes. The cool Lenny Hayes, top of the square. Hickey's there. They're all there. Off hands, Westhoff. Dennis Lane went in carefully. Wines, little handball out to Monfries.
Got nothing to go to, though, Port Adelaide. The Saints' press is outstanding at the moment.
Oh, it's in full bore. Here's Stevie Milne from 30 out. Milne rips it home. Kilda's goal to bring them back to within 13.
Oh, what an outstanding quarter of football this is. They've had 126 disposals for the quarter. That is a huge number. They just cannot get any control of the ball at all, Port Adelaide. Outstanding quarter of football. Milne, turnover, punch back by that press we were talking about. He had nothing to go to. Mill turns around. He's done that.
Richo, they've had almost as many disposals this quarter as they had in the first half. It's been one of the most remarkable turnarounds I've seen for the year. Have a look at that. There it is, quarter three. They've had 126 possessions in Kilda, almost the same as they had in the first half, to 65.
They had 142 in the whole of the first half.
Unbelievable quarter of footy this one from St Kilda, from nowhere.
Great stat, 126 this quarter. Boy, they've kicked 5 goals to 1 in the quarter, and they're back in the hunt here. They're exactly where they need to be at three-quarter time. 30 seconds left here. And these young guys like Webster and Saunders and been all over it.
Nunes has had a huge quarter.
Nunes, yep.
The sub in his first game has done well too. Tommy Curran, he's shown a little bit that he can play. It's exciting stuff.
Oh, stay with us. This one's going to go to the wire for sure. McAvoy, like a massive, massive Clydesdale workhorse.
Yeah. Well done, Del Sando, at that stoppage. He went back, plonked himself in the hole. A clean stoppage by Port Adelaide. They get it in. He wins it back.
Siren sounds. Stand up, St Kilda fans, and applaud your team, because they have come from 39 down at half-time and now trail by just 13. Stay with us. Great quarter on the other side of the break to come. Port Adelaide, and we've had great access to both rooms tonight. Thank you to both competing clubs for allowing us in the pre-game tonight and giving us the access.
Yeah, they've been fantastic, both clubs. Port Adelaide have tried a loose man defence for the entire night. St Kilda have, for the most part, manned them up. And as you look up again, they have got 7 in defence. West off is forward. And I think St Kilda are going to man them up again. At the moment, Monfries is back behind the play.
St Kilda's last win against Melbourne in round 13. And Port Adelaide's last win against Collingwood at AME Stadium just 3 weeks ago. Jack Stevens free here.
Look at this. Dempster is the loose man for the Saints. Monfries was loose and he's run down. That's what you've got to do, get involved as a loose man.
He's going to have a ping here, Richo, from 52 across the throat of the goals. Flying high was Pittard, couldn't hang on, and we'll have a ball up as a result here.
Straight up, guys.
So a 5-goal to 1 quarter in favour of St Kilda in the third. There's some life in this one. Port Adelaide before that looked unbeatable. Boak. Look at the meat in the sandwich here that is Schultz. Well, umpire said he'd run off the line. Little chip around the body, finds it in the hands of a real good operator.
He's had a good night, Del. It's his 25th.
Goes for the low bullet in towards Jones, and Armitage spun in the tackle, kept the arms free. Now he had Pryor. He's got to be pinged there.
He's caught in the back.
Oh, well, they didn't pay the other one in the third, and he had prior opportunity.
He got spun around almost 360 and then got fallen into his back.
Look, he had a chance to give it twice. Gee, Richo, I agree with the fall in the back in the end, but which one come first?
Yeah, well, he did have an opportunity to get rid of it. It was slung completely around the 360.
This is a big, big decision. Armitage, he's gone the comb over as well, but it's the goal that's important. Difficult angle for the left footer.
And that was the way that he ran, didn't he? He's shaped to go out wide and try and draw it across his body. And unfortunately for him and St Kilda, it stayed straight. But the momentum of the third quarter is still with St Kilda.
Yeah, and it's just started off again, Dust. They can't get their hands on it. That time there, the kick-in went long to Monfries and McAvoy. McAvoy was always going to win the show of strength there, and the Saints have won it back. You heard Lingy say, Ken Hingley said don't go quick all of the time, but they've got to get your hands on it before you can slow it down.
26 touch for Del Sando, and Hickey from the side has taken a really nice pluck.
Yeah, good to see.
Have a look at him lessening the angle there as well. The umpire hasn't sent him back.
Look at Dell sneaking down here, BT.
Yep,
Here he goes. Look at
he's
him.
on his wrong side. Gee, he ran onto the wrong side then, but I think he was then going to come back on the left, wasn't he?
I think he still might. Keep your eye on him.
Yep. Hickey says, no, I'm the man for this, and oh boy, I'm not so sure.
Just a little flick off to Del Sando then may have been the option.
You can usually convince a ruckman to do that too. You can just get in their ear a little bit and say, hey, look after me a bit.
Das, a good example of that, Lingy. Here's Mitchell, look at him. He can kick it even when tackled. Del Sando absolutely in everything at the moment.
Das, you were more of a ruck rover, of course, though, just a big ruck rover.
That would have gone through post-high, Lingy. No handball coming from me, I can assure you of that.
Crunching competitive attempt at mark then. Carlisle with the initial handball, and now Hartlett kicks it high on the head of Gray. At the back, Noons got it all to do, had a great third quarter as well, so did this man.
He was one of the players that got them really going at the start of that third quarter, Noons.
Jack Stephen there, the push-off by Lenny, coughed it up to Gray, and it's a high push-off. Geez, lucky. That's interchange infringement here.
To Port Adelaide.
Port Adelaide 50 metres. And 50 metres. Port
Now,
Adelaide.
it's going Port Adelaide's way.
Hang on, he
Interchange infringement, Matty. Interchange infringement.
changed his direction on the flag there.
He did too. He held it the other way and then he changed it at the last moment.
He was holding it the wrong way.
We've seen the ball's one of these up already this year. Let's hope they've got it right this time.
Now look at the confusion. I don't know, you can't see the pictures on the Port Adelaide bench at the moment. As we have a look here, you can see two players on, one off there. Two players went on and only one off. It's a matter of how many they had on the bench though.
The steward actually held the orange flag Port Adelaide's way.
Yep. In the meantime, Wingard stands and delivers a sidewinder.
Well, I've got to say, you never barrack when you're commentating, but I'm happy that wasn't a goal. I don't like that penalty for...
Well, I think it's going to be changed next year.
Well, that's a good thing.
It will be a fine next year, we believe.
It's a massive thing to do in a game, isn't it? Stop the play, give a 50-metre penalty because someone's got a toenail over the line.
I think Mark Evans, the footy ops manager, agrees with you.
Well, that's great.
I'm pretty sure it'll be changed next year.
And BT, why, if it's going to be changed next year, don't they just change it right now?
It's only happened
could
twice
decide
this
a
year.
final.
Yeah.
That's only the second one for the year, so...
Might be speaking out of school, but I'm sure it's going to happen next year. But I agree with you, Lingy. Saunders into Milne. A little fudgy handball to Lenny. Lenny lines up from 48 directly in front. Needs a good bounce to the left.
So you're not sure, or you made it up?
Well, I'm not 100% sure. Otherwise, we would have seen the story.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I think Mark Evans has spoken about it in a fashion that will see the rule change next year. That's what I'm hoping. No, I don't know, Richo. Well, you've wound me up in a knot.
Into him high.
Well, you sounded like you knew.
BT, you're spot on. It has been said during the week that it is going to change next year. Your information is absolutely perfect.
Thank you, Lingy.
Like the way he goes about it, Mark Evans, new footy operations manager. He
just knows.
Makes common sense. He's
smart and just on the side of the footy and understands it. I mean, I had the opportunity to coach Mark down at Paran in the old VFA days.
You did you?
And he was a good listener then. Obviously, he learnt a lot.
You would have been patient with your players.
Did you get down in the rain in those days and actually address the troops not from the interchange bench?
We had some unusual events, let's say. There's Dennis Lane. Hayes boring in there, but this is going to be an old-fashioned belt out to the final siren. Stay with us. Enjoy this game. It's Port Adelaide by 2 goals. As Gwilt goes McAvoy bound off hands. Or Stanley, was it? Little quick handball out to Dennis Lane, and he misses to the left.
Well, it started exactly the same way as the third quarter. 29 disposals to 12. Port cannot get control of the footy. Only taken 1 mark for the quarter. They need to find someone here who can mark it and just hold it up.
Boy, Port bench been caught and given it up to Rewalt. He gives it off to Hayes, wide to Montagna. This will lift the roof off this stadium. Oster.
They just haven't been able to find a target on these kick-ins, Port Adelaide.
Hold there.
That was a high-quality kick from Lee Montagna. Look at the nick. It hits the inside goalpost. It's 3/4 of the way up. all the attacking. You just need a bit of reward here, St Kilda.
Pengove to Hartlett. Hartlett damaging kick to Westhoff. He's got to beat McAvoy. He reckons he's got him covered. He runs to the open goal. Very impressive from Port Adelaide.
That was a sensational play by Port.
It's great, wasn't it?
They kicked it in to the pocket to Jonas. He came inboard, and it was the quick release handball that set them in motion. Jackson Trengove got the handball off, and they were out then because Westhoff had a mismatch of pace on McAvoy straight down the middle of the ground.
Great kick, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Out of circle, boys.
Have a look at the Hamish Hartlett kick here to open them up in the middle. Gets the handball here, and he just belts this as long as he can, knowing that Westhoff will outpace McAvoy. Did it brilliantly.
Yeah, you can see all the behinds the Saints have kicked, and then Port making them pay with a quick goal straight up the middle.
Good mark from Dennis Lane.
Stay out. You.
Looks to go to Stanley, who had his man beaten, but the ball was just kicked a little behind him. An opportunity here now for the first gamer in Curran.
It's twice this quarter Stanley has got himself into a position to get two hands on the footy, and he just hasn't been able to hold the mark. He's disappointed there. He knows he's done the right thing, got into the right position. Just need to get the vice grip on those.
Jack Stephen around the corner, kicks the goal for St Kilda.
He's happy with that, Jack Stephen. That's his second goal from a stoppage in this second half. Kicked one earlier in the third quarter. And once again, this is a great bit of ruck work by Hickey. Out the back. That's a set play, I've got no doubt. And Jack Stephen wheels around and kicks it. Answered against St Kilda.
Big Hickey, some really nice ruck work. That's the perfect spot out the back. And look at Montagna, they're right up and about the Saints here. Lenny Hayes, they are sensing a massive come from behind victory here.
Gee, Jack Stephen would have enjoyed that space too at that clearance.
I tell you what, there's a lot of other teams watching this game here at the moment because so much depends on it. The outcome of this one, Saunders out wide. Paddles towards the boundary line. Monfrey's there. Kept alive by Jones. Gray caught in the tackle and he threw it. That's a one-handed throw.
Oh, that's incorrect.
That has to be a throw.
You have to dispose of it properly or you're just allowed to drop it out.
Now here's what I'm talking about. Carlton, West Coast, even Brisbane, a lot of teams waiting on the result of this one. Port, of course, even Collingwood have some effect. Opportunity here now for Port to go with the goal. And Butcher gets his third.
Gee, he just floated in the corridor there, Das. Butcher, and got on the back of a loose ball.
Looked a better kick on the run there, Big Johnny Butcher. We didn't have to think about what was happening, and yeah, they needed that one. Started the game on fire, Big Johnny Butcher. Took a couple of big marks, took a couple of goals. And his third goal was very, very much enjoyed by Ken Hinckley and the coaching staff.
One in the circle.
Here's Johnny Butcher. Doesn't have to think about it as much on the run. You love them. He loved it.
Saints inside 50 in this quarter, 7 times for 1 goal. Port Adelaide inside 50 3 times for 2 goals. Efficiency. Boak pours the spill here out of his hands. It comes to Stephen. Couple of bounces. This would be a mighty goal from Jack Stephen. Has it got the length? Yes, it has. He kicks his 3rd goal. Back to 10 points.
What a response that was from Stephen. How about the leg speed? And I love the way he packed himself in. Looked around and just said, "You're not catching me." 3 bounces, big goal. Armitage looks a little dazed behind play. And big boy McAvoy's just sent him on his way.
Yeah, he had a look at his eyes and he said, "You're going." Well, in amongst the hysteria of this goal here from Stephen, There has been a medical issue with Armitage. Docklands.
Yeah, his own head. I think as he slung in the tackle, he ended up on the bottom of the ground. His head hit the ground. He lay down there. He's got the staggers up. They're looking at him on the sideline, but he is dazed, Brian.
McAvoy had a look at him as he come back to go in the bounce in the middle, and he said, "You go straight from the ground."
Oh, I thought he was going to pay 50 then.
This is
Curran. It's Curran.
Yep.
The first gamer.
It is from inside the centre square. High ball. Rewalt's there. Milne looking dangerously. What a great contested mark from Nick Rewalt against Trent Gove.
Yeah, there's the difference. Stanley had himself in that position twice. Good kick by Curran to the advantage, but Nick Rewalt. This is the free kick that was paid in the back. It's laying on the back there.
Well,
but what a contested mark this is.
They made that clear at the start of the year. You can't lie on the back in your attempt to dispossess someone. Now, Rewalt's got to kick the goal, Richo, even though we know the mark was fantastic.
Yeah, well, the advantage here is he hasn't gone on a big, massive lead before he marked this one, so...
To get it back to 4 points, Rewalt has missed. Doc Larkin's on the boundary.
Yeah, I think Armitage may be cooked for the night as well, Brian, after that knock to the head on the ground. So I think you'll find that they're probably going to have to go short, because if you just look at the reaction there, and on the sidelines, he's still very confused.
Yeah, that really hurts him, Doc. The replay looks as though it was a really heavy head knock, but Armitage has been a very important player.
How's their leaders in this second half?
Rewalt going wide towards Lee. He's got it, but he's going to have to thread the needle here.
Let's watch that kicking action again. BT, this will test it.
Yep. And to kick this, it's real tough. It's got a bit of a right to left work on it. Can you get it back to come the other way? But he's clearing all those on the perimeter piping.
He's jammed for space here, BT. I reckon if he had his ideal run up, he'd probably give himself 3 or 4 more steps.
And that's where the umpire should let him go around a little more. Lee comes in, not off his normal run up. It's a great kick. Look at it, he's got it. Lee's got it. Back within 3 points here, the Saints. Remarkable goal.
What is that? You can't kick him from there, Richie.
This boy,
unbelievable.
We've seen a few games this young man's played, and he goes back and he believes himself. He knows that he's got a nice kicking action. And every time he has a shot, I reckon he thinks he's going to kick it, and he nailed it. How good was that?
It's a real good head of hair he's working to, Tommy Lee. It's a massive shag.
I might grab a bit off him when I go down there later.
One of those ones you look back and just think about the hair he had when he was just a young fella. And he'll remember that goal because it was massive.
Gets them within 3. They've kicked 9 of the last 12 goals, St Kilda.
Gee whiz.
Raining goals for them. McAvoy and Lobby in the middle. Boak.
My boy, sorry, it just came out at the end, but it was pinned. Thank you.
And he tells McAvoy to go to the other side along with Lobby. Stuart Wen puts it up. Boak's in there. Montagna as well. Thought he copped one high, Joey Montagna then.
I reckon Nick Del Santo's enjoyed a little bit of freedom tonight. He's sitting at the back of this stoppage loose, and if they win it, he'll get involved as they move down, Nick.
McAvoy to Hayes, to Jones, need to keep it working forward. Moore did well in and under. Jack Stephen again. Boys, this guy got a pair of wheels. Gives it off to Jones, it'll come back to Jack. A low handball. Jack kept it alive with beautiful clean skills. Noons looking for Dennis Lane. Couldn't find him. Well, he could, but he couldn't hang on. Ball back into the hands of Jack. Goes short and wide to Rewalt. This is too far out for Rewalt here.
Now Stevens just takes off and uses his speed every
Short
time.
pass, here comes Milne. Got down low. The umpire said he dropped it. I think the umpire got that right. I think he did have a little bubble. Milne says no, but I think the umpire may be right here. Let's have a look. Yes! Got it right up. Well done. Montagna, St Kilda, doing all the pressing in this game at the moment. Off hands, the first gamer for his first goal. He's got it. Boy, he's kicked the goal here, Curran. First of his career, and what a time.
Okay.
Has he put St Kilda in
Score
front?
review. Umpire's call is a goal or clear. We'd just like to check if it's hit the post.
I think it's probably a goal, but Curran's kicked his first and it's gone to the score review to put St Kilda in front.
Well, let's have a look at this one.
Well, that doesn't tell us anything.
So that's inconclusive. Remember, the umpire's call is a goal.
This is like the Ashes.
Oh, this is better than the Ashes, Richo.
Gee, you can't conclusively say it may have touched it.
And remember, those in the box are seeing the same replays that we're seeing. So you can't tell from that.
It's got to be
a goal. St Kilda are going to lead this by 3 points.
He was in great position, the goal umpire.
Review complete. Umpire's call.
Okay, umpire's call's a goal. That's all clear.
St Kilda are in front.
That's the first time in this game the Saints have been in front. 18 minutes into the final quarter. And now Kenny Hinkley takes a drink. And they've got to find something here. What a comeback. They'll be their second biggest ever comeback from half-time. 39 points at half-time. Their previous best was 48 back in 1975. And 39, they're back in the lead.
47, the biggest margin in this game. And they've come back from that to hit the front arse.
What can they do, Lingy? Port Adelaide.
Well, now they've just got to go back to what they did in that first half. Number one, win the ball, but then take the game on. They can't go safe and slow now. They've got to keep taking the game on through the middle. Nick Del Santo just keeps wanting to get himself loose behind the ball as much as he can. He's setting up just off the back of this stoppage. I think they've got to round him up. They can't let him influence off the contest. He's getting his hands on the footy far too much.
Poor crowd here tonight, 14,878 to see a ripper game. Ahmed Saad has texted us. Come on, boys. Great comeback, he says.
I'll tell you what, Port need to do something about Jack Stephen. Das mentioned him before. His quick play on. He's had 10 disposals this quarter and 4 clearances, Jack Stephen.
Live ladder, look at that. Port, 32, 108. Percentage is a factor. And West Coast, gee. Brisbane, Carlton, everyone hanging on for this result. Jones wide with a mongrel. An absolute mum.
So Port Adelaide will be out of the 8 if the result stays the way it is. Carlton fans will be watching closely tonight. A lot riding on this game.
It's not a bad result for St Kilda, that kick. I know it was a mongrel, but it gives them a chance to set up a stoppage.
So much time left in the game, just under 9 minutes. The way this game's been played, we've already had, 6 goals kicked in the 20 minutes of play so far. Here he is, Mitchell, the reigning Sandover medalist. Gave it off to Westhoff, squeezed the trigger in the middle. Beautiful little handball from Wines. The run here impressive. An opportunity.
Oh, Stanley's chase.
Gee, almost got him, tagged him. And Pittard, I think it was. A little trip. And 50, because he didn't hand the ball back directly. So this will be a certain Port Adelaide goal now. Have a look at the run by Pittard here. Stanley, does he tag him down low? Just got his heel. And then the ball was not given back in a direct fashion. And the fans have gone bananas as Pittard comes in and puts Port back in front.
How was the slingshot run from the back half from Port Adelaide? Mitchell won the footy, took the game on, and then they got out the series of handballs. It's like a wave coming down the ground, and then this run here. But G. Reece Stanley, that was some sort of chase, just tagged him. Then a disappointing 50 at the end of it all.
You have to love the way that Pittard there it was from Del Santo. Just wasn't smart, really. Knocked the footy away.
Oh, I don't reckon that was 50. Del Santo went to knock the ball, stayed in his hands after the knock, and then the Port Adelaide player let it go. That wasn't 50.
So he milked it.
Absolutely he did. Boy, Lobie, Hartlett's head has been driven into the turf. St Kilda are given the free. Jack Stephen goes forward, looking for Lee. Stephen.
If St Kilda can get this forward, they've got Lee Montagna standing about 40 metres out from goal with no one. So Johnny Butcher has to work all the way down to cover him now.
Have a look at this, the 50. There's the knock. He held the ball and then he let it go.
Oh, well picked up, BT.
That is not 50, and that has cost them a goal.
It's got a bit of Stuart Broad about it.
Simpkin. Boy, oh boy. Rewalt, look at the work he's done to get on the end of this. He's got Montagna near the boundary line. It's cut off. Here goes the counter sling attack. O'Shea goes wide. Gray trying to work his man under the footy, but Jimmy Webster wanted none of it. Now an opportunity for Stewart. Stewart goes for Monfries, trying to get loose from Noons. Got him high. He'll get the free here, Monfries. He's a right-to-left worker of the footy, but he has not got the distance in him from there. Monfries short ball to Mitchell. The Sandover medalist has marked it.
He's your man, Bristol, the sub, and he's got fresh legs. He's going to play him short to Westhoff.
And he does, and he gives Westhoff a really difficult kick to make. Now he's got a decision. Drop punt, run around right foot banana.
He's got
because
Stevie J.
He's contending with the left to right slide here, Das.
I reckon he'll go to Stevie J and run out and snap it. He's shaping drop punt.
Got to aim at the left goal post if it's the drop punt, which it is. So Westhoff, big kick, tough kick. Real tough one, and he's put it out almost of bounds. Port Adelaide by 4 points.
Jeez, it's a fast game.
Tell what I love about what Port Adelaide are doing now. They've been outplayed completely in the second half, but Pittard's instinct to just run and play on is the right way to go about it. They understand the way they're coached is that they want to win it, you've got to take some risks and be aggressive, play on the middle.
Saturday night footy, it never fails. Rewalt. Always good contests.
We're yet to have
a bad one in 2 years.
Unbelievable. Saturday night footy has just thrown up games that you wouldn't have predicted have gone down to the wire.
Now Doc, Armitage preparing to come back on after that blow to the head.
Yeah, they've decided he's not concussed, Brian, so after that knock, they've cleared him after about 10 minutes and he will come back.
How can that be? Is that conservative treatment, Doc?
Well, they're the medical staff, Brian. They're very experienced.
Well, he was either concussed or he wasn't. They had a 20-minute period to look at him and he's coming back on. You wonder whether it's just the moment. Out of bounds on the full here.
Yeah, Milne marked that over the line, tried to calm the umpire. He was right there.
There's more.
This is where Ken Hinkley spoke at three-quarter time about not having to go fast and up the corridor every time. Don't be afraid to be smart with the footy.
They've got some out on the fat side, on your side, Liggy, haven't they?
Yeah, very clever now. Just keep possession, keep some control of it. And you're right, if they can get it over here, Port Adelaide players out everywhere.
Have a look at as we draw back. You can see, couldn't see the player to the right and bottom left there. Goes up the line and kicks it to a contest, and Westhoff's claiming the mark, and he's been paid the mark.
I think the Saints think they had hands on it first. Yeah. Montagna can't believe it.
Kick into Hartlett, and I agree with him. Opportunity here. Wingard on his favourite left boot. Hits the behind post out of bounds on the full.
Well, Big Hickey was in front, and he was going back as if it was his over the top Westhoff. You've got to pay the man in front, Big Hickey.
Oh, yeah, it's Hickey's mark.
Gee whiz.
Gee. Simpkin down the line. Funny old kick. Calhoun steps in front and marks.
Yeah, poor kick is the way you describe that from Simpkin. He couldn't bring that one back into the corridor from there. It wasn't the time to do it.
Stay with us. Don't go and put the kettle on yet. There's 4.5 really tight minutes left. There's Montagna, kicks into Wingard, and he wants out of bounds on the full, but he won't get it.
Yeah, Port have got to get their press on here. They've got to keep it in, lock it inside 50. They've got a chance to take some time off the clock here.
Lobe forward. Gray was there. Nailed and carries forward. He's paid the free to Gray. In his back, let's listen in.
Landed in the middle of his back.
Pretty simple. Landed in the middle of his back.
That's all that needs to be said. Let's have a look at the replay. And yeah, probably pushed him forward. Frustration there for Scotty Waters.
Phone must have been hot. He let go of it very quickly. Now Gray to consolidate their 4-point lead into double figures. Robbie Gray, he's very good at this. Kick on the way, inside left post, misses.
What was Chad Wingard doing there, leading 10 metres out? Just get out of it. You've actually got to get out of your bloke's space and not put him off. That was... I'm not sure what he's thinking there.
Gee, Gwilt very close to the line when he's kicked that in. Big Johnny Jukes Butcher was up there trying to get hold of that one. Montagna, Farron Ray, Del Santo goes down the line. High ball Stanley. Over the top came Stewart. What a cracking game of football. Enjoyed every minute of this. Both of these coaches have provided teams that have played great footy to watch.
Well, a lot of time left, 3 minutes.
McAvoy to Rewalt was superb. Outnumbering them here. Pittard let it go. Milne caught, but it was pinned. He did not have prior opportunity.
Thank you. No, I didn't see that. I didn't see it. Thanks, Stephen. No. Any danger.
You can hear Milne there.
A lot of yapping going on.
Any danger of one our way, says Milne.
Any danger. Lenny Hayes with the ruck work. Wingard peels off out the back. Hartlett just wanted to get boot on the ball and advance it towards the boundary line. Schultz the same. Moore eventually, I think it was, that took it over. 2 minutes 46 seconds. Port by 5. St Kilda's end of the ground here. Quilt ball pinned. We'll ball it up.
Gee.
A spot in the 8 is hanging by the finest of threads here for Port Adelaide. Carlton will be watching this and going, we're in, we're out, we're in, we're out. They're not sure.
No. Lenny Hayes.
They've played a block to Lenny Hayes at this stoppage.
It's a block. Third man.
Del Santo has not had anyone come near him in this second half.
32 free kicks paid in this game. Del Santo lovely to Rewalt. Too far out for Rewalt here.
I don't know if you want Del Santo being able to just hit blokes like that.
Every
No
player
pressure.
except 3 for St Kilda inside 50. High ball. Here Westhoff.
Oh, what a massive mark that was.
And the cramp.
Yeah, that's brilliant, isn't it? They're the sort of marks that win you games of footy.
That's Leo Barry style.
It is.
Oh, that's huge.
And well done to Westhoff putting himself there in the first place.
He kicks long, really long. Trengo fell a fist on it. Mitchell drawing handball. Remember, he's a left-footer Wingard. Nothing short. He ignores Butcher. Over the head.
He's going to get his own kick.
He's getting his own ball. This is unbelievable. He's Iron Man. He's built like a barrel. And he nearly ran his own kick down. That's a superhuman feat.
I think it was Chad Wingard.
Was it?
To Bristol, but I don't want to take anything away from your excitement. I know he's your man.
To him, did he?
Well, he was running alongside him at the time.
Okay,
Yeah.
got the handball to him.
I thought it was him too. He's everywhere.
Gee, Das, I'm excited about him.
No.
Boy, Del Santo, the Saints, got a minute and a half. Big contest for Lee. A no-looker out the side door found Saunders. Stolen away, will ball this up. It's in neutral territory. 124, and St Kilda have got the free.
Jeez, there's been a lot of whistle in this game. Free kicks getting paid.
Left,
every
right, and
contest.
centre.
Yes.
Here's Ray. Listen to the fans. There's only 14,000 of them.
Oh,
Sounds like it's full, and Westhoff's done it again.
Yeah, he's freed himself up. 2 big match-saving grabs.
Got to man up and turn this one over here. St Kilda, they can't afford that.
Oh, now they get a little itchy here.
Yeah, they've got to quickly get a man each, don't they?
Well, they haven't at the moment. Ebert, the loose man here, Schultz. Now, no, they haven't got a man up. There's men free at centre half back, but it would be a brave Jay Schultz that went that way.
And Wingard is behind the footy on his own. They can go backwards to Wingard.
37 seconds, and it's 2 kicks from goal for St Kilda. They must man up, not 10 metres off their man. They must be man to man, and they've finally got it. Now they force the kick to the contest. From Wingard, it's a high ball, 17 seconds and ticking. Gray will run it over the line. And a boundary throw in. There is time. 12 seconds, one kick and a mark for St Kilda, and they're within range.
Yeah, need a real clean clearance here, the Saints.
Port Adelaide by 5 points. Wonderful game. I think they're going to win now, Port Adelaide. A cracking first quarter has set it up, and Port Adelaide are going to record a victory here and cement a place in 8th position, and Carlton will fall out of the 8 after their impressive win last night. Port Adelaide have won by 5 points.
Well, Boki, what a win. It probably wasn't the situation you wanted to be there at the end after you were leading half-time, but to hold on must be absolutely wrapped.
Yeah, it was, mate. I mean, we started really well, and we knew they were going to come at us. They're a good side, and to the boys' credit, they really held on strong. And for Westie to go back and take a couple of really good grabs in the last quarter, it was great work from the leader, so it's brilliant.
And I saw just there when the siren went, a heap of you all ran to him and just said, well done, incredible effort to stand up and take those marks.
Yeah, that's it. And, Ken talks about leaders standing up, and Westie was huge in those last couple of minutes, and along with Ebo and, Shilty down the ground. So it's great credit to those guys, and we really fought it out, so it was a good effort.
Well done, Boki. Great job, buddy. Well done, mate.
So Port Adelaide win by 5 points here. And a couple of interesting decisions. One was a controversial 50-metre decision that was paid Port Adelaide's way. When he was 50 metres out, Del Santo went to knock the ball out. It didn't fall, and then Pittard let go of it.
To the absolute letter of the law, it probably is a 50 because you can't come into a contest after a free kick's been paid. But very, very ticky-tacky.
What about this one, Richo?
Yeah.
The mark not paid to Hickey in the pack, but paid to Westhoff, the third man up.
Well, to me, Hickey's the man in front, and I think he clearly should have been paid to mark. My understanding has always been, and I think it's everyone, so that if you're in front and there's multiple hands on it, you pay the man in front.
There was also the interchange infringement as well. Dylan Robertson was KO'd just before half-time, and St Kilda had gone down by 5 points. Port Adelaide stay out in the ground.
This
They're
is interesting.
revitalised. It is both talking to them.
Yeah, the skipper there having a chat to them. Look, they came to a standstill in the second half. But as so often happens when a team has to come from so far behind, you don't quite get there. Let's go down to Lingy.
Thanks, BT. Got Chad Wingard here. Well, you got the win, but you almost just couldn't quite nail it at the end. You had a couple of shots at goal, and I know you're getting a bit dirty on yourself, but great that you got over the line.
Yeah, we probably didn't play the game that we wanted. We had our third quarter was pretty terrible with our contested ball and our tackles, so we're lucky to get out of the win, but yeah, we'll look forward to next week and we'll learn from this as well.
St Kilda certainly threw a lot at you. They just appeared after half-time just to take the game on, and you blokes just couldn't get your hands on the footy.
Yeah, no, they had a great third term, and their stars stepped up. They've got a great quality players in that team, and again, we didn't get the job done for the 4 quarters, but we're lucky enough to get a win.
Well, you're back in the 8 now. You must be happy with that.
Mate, we're stoked.
Well done, mate. Great job. Great game.
So Port Adelaide fans would be ecstatic with this. They've won, and they've won by less than a goal, and they play Brisbane at home next week, and then Adelaide in the showdown the week after. So they have a real opportunity. They sit in 8th position currently, Richo, and really it's up to them whether they want to stay there, because those 2 games, Brisbane and Adelaide over the next 2 weeks, are very winnable for them.
Oh, no doubt. Brisbane are an improving team. I think they've won again tonight. So, look, the Lions are on a roll as well. Their second half of the year's been really good. So that shapes us another interesting fixture next week. And if you really want to look ahead, there's a match in round 23, Carlton and Port Adelaide. Wouldn't it be great if it came down to that? It's like an elimination final in round 23.
May well do, Richo. It may well do. St Kilda travel down to Simmons Stadium next week to take on Geelong, and then they've got Brisbane up at the Gabba the week after.
Yeah, as often happens, a team that has to chase and chase and chase all night, get in front, but invariably you just don't quite get there, and that's what happened tonight. Port, of course, deserved to win. They got off to a flyer with a great first quarter. Johnny Butcher had kicked 2 goals before the Saints had had 2 disposals. I don't reckon that's ever happened before, so...
This is going to be a lot of fun for Port Adelaide fans here, Richo.
And Wingard, he just continues on his season. Another 22 and 2 goals. That's the average for the year for Wingard. He's just a quality player.
They will enjoy this.
The old Powerade shower. Mitchell, I'm not sure they enjoy it too much, the first gamers.
Calhoun in the middle.